Is it time?
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day.
We'll know in a very short period of time, but it looks like it could be something that will be not good. Believe me, not good.
I see issue with that. And again, hey.
You're not going to be able to insult your way to the presidency. That's not going to happen.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
I'm Ted Cruz, and my pronoun is kiss my ass.
So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him.
Not good. Believe me, not good.
Hello, dissidents. Welcome one and all to this very special Monday evening special report edition of the Do Dissidence podcast. My name is Keaton Weiss. Russell Daviler's got to unmute his microphone. I did text him to let him know, but he is here from the great city of New Orleans, Louisiana. Russell Daviler.
Who that think they beat the Saints? Who that
they are going to beat them Saints. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Russell knows how it goes.
Colonel Daviler here.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Daviler here from the great city of New Orleans.
Great city of New Orleans. You know, it's funny. That wall behind you looks like a floor. Like it looks like you're lying down on the floor doing the show because it looks like kind of like a wooden, like a hardwood flooring. You know.
It does, yeah. This is okay. So it's been really, really unusually cold in a lot of parts of the country, and when it gets cold like that in New Orleans, the houses are not built for it. So This place has been fucking brutal. Like it's not that they don't have heat in here, but it's just everything's uninsulated. And what's really been interesting is when I've gone into restaurants and shops, normally it's cold outside in the Northeast and you go inside, it's nice and warm. Nah, man, because they're not insulated either.
Right.
They got their heat going, but they're just not set up for 30 degrees.
Yeah, no, I could imagine, for sure. It's 528, 529, strong in the YouTube chat to start the show. I'm looking at 325 over on Rumble, so a wonderful crowd filing in. Some people asked if Jake is here tonight. Jake is not here tonight. He'll be with us tomorrow, I assume. So just a reminder, everybody, our schedule is moving up a day during the week. We are now going Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then past February 9th, which is when Russ's Jimmy Dore show gigs I won't say expire for sure, but they will expire for now. We will be adding that fourth stream after then. So we will be plugging in a fourth stream weekly. That stream will probably rotate days for the time being until we figure out a time slot that really works. But we will be giving you 4 shows a week past February 9th. We promise. But our regular schedule is moving to Tuesday night, 9 p.m., Thursday morning, 9 a.m., so that if and when Russ is asked to host the Jimmy Dore show in the future, we won't have to keep moving our shows around. So that's how that's going to work. But we thank you guys all very much for being here. Very excited about tonight's show. This is a special show that we have put together for you guys. This is a show that we want to thank all of our patrons, our Substackers, our Locals members, and, of course, our GoFundMe donors for. We made our trip to New Hampshire in the snow, in the cold, and got a lot of footage that we are going to play for you guys tonight. So we are going to be airing this in 2 parts, not 2 parts, meaning 2 shows. It's all going to be 1 show. But we are going to play day 1 Then we're going to take an intermission for super chats because I see we're already getting some super chats in. So we're going to play day 1's footage, super chat break, and day 2's footage. We got a lot of stuff, folks. We got a lot of stuff, and I erred on the side of giving you guys more, not less, because you guys helped us raise the money for this trip. So overall, my cut is an hour and 40 minutes, so 1 hour of day 1. Then we'll take a short break. We'll read some super chats. We'll talk a little bit about day 1 if anybody else has questions. Super chats and Rumble rants, by the way. I could field Rumble rants as well, since I'll be sitting here watching with you guys. But day 1 is 1 hour, and then we will take a short super chat break, and then we will play day 2. So in total, we got pretty much a full-length show for you guys, since all in all, we will be here for the next couple hours. So we hope that you guys have your popcorn and soda made up, and hope you are ready for a time. Let's see. Can we hit 666 before we start?
Come on.
Let's hit it before we start so that we don't have to interrupt the screening in order to do this. 662. Come on. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Get us up over that 666 hump. We have 503 strong over on Rumble. So it is.
Get to 666 so I can get back to my mint julep.
We hit it. Now we can do this in peace, because we were thinking, what if we hit it while we're airing the film?
Exactly. Then what do we do?
Yeah, do we pause it? Whatever. But all other business,
because the demon that we gave our souls to for our earthly success told us if we ever did not do that promptly, deals off.
Yeah, right.
We go back to delivery driving and tour guiding.
Exactly. So we're going to play our footage right about now. We are live tomorrow with a full show with regular segments, including the results of the New Hampshire primary. But right now, we're going to mute up full screen, sit back, relax, and enjoy our presentation of our on-the-ground New Hampshire coverage. We will see you in 1 hour.
I'm looking forward to this, too. I'm seeing this along with you. I only saw the tweets.
Russell
only not seen this either.
That's right. So this is Russell's first time seeing this as well. So like I said, we're going to air day 1, take a super chat break, and then day 2. Let's mute up, full screen this, sit back, relax. We hope you enjoy. I muted up in advance. This special presentation.
Not now. Not now. We hit the sound drop.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or we hit the sound drop. I guess it's down there, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. All right, everybody. We hope you enjoy this. Thank you for watching. We will see you in 1 hour. What's up, everybody? Keaton Weiss live. That's how Jordan Sheridan signs on. Jordan Sheridan live. Speaking of Jordan, I'm starting to understand now that I'm on the road, headed to the great state of New Hampshire for our on-the-ground primary coverage. That's right, on-the-ground primary coverage this weekend. I'm starting to understand why he feels so superior to everybody who doesn't go on the ground. I mean, look at me. I got the camera mounted in the car. I'm driving safely, keeping my eyes on the road. I'm not getting distracted and looking at you guys. Only when the car stopped, it's a red light. It's cold out. I'm battling the elements. I have an itinerary. You got to keep moving. It's a lot easier than just sitting on your ass and doing a podcast. So I'm starting to feel like I'm really superior to everyone in my space who simply sits and talks. It really feels good. I really feel proud. And if this video gets any less than 500,000 views, I'm going to be very bitter and angry about it, and I'm going to have a chip on my shoulder about it for many years. So you have an obligation in the audience to like this video, share it. You have an obligation to subscribe to my channel. You should really pay $5 a month to support my on-the-ground reporting. And if you don't, you're part of the problem. You know, you may say that you care about the issues, but unless you subscribe to my channel and support my show, then you're obviously full of shit. And, look, I mean, that's the way it goes, unfortunately, in this space. See, I'm getting angry already. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea. Maybe I should turn around. I'm already getting bitter. I already know that this is going to end up probably in the 11 to 12,000 view count range, and that's just not enough. That's just not enough. And I'm not going to blame the algorithm. I blame you. I blame you, and I blame everybody else in this independent left media space for being just lazy, drama-addicted hypocrites. And so I'll check in when I'm in a better mood. Thanks. All right, folks, I'm feeling a little better now. I'm in a better mood now, and you know why? Because I'm pumping gas. And if you can see behind me, gas $3.09 a gallon. $3.09 a gallon, down from about $3.75 to $3.85 just a couple months ago. And you know what that is? That's called progress. Progress is slow. It doesn't happen all at once. And, look, I'm going to cover these candidates in New Hampshire, and they're going to have a lot of negative things to say about Joe Biden. But I should remind them from time to time that progress is slow and he's doing the best he can. And it just really warms the heart and soul to see gas at $3.09 a gallon, down from $3.75 just a couple weeks ago. So keep that in mind, folks. All right. Feeling a little better. Got a full tank of gas, and I am on the closest thing to a straight road that I will be on this whole trip. This is the thing that kind of sucks about this drive. The thing that kind of sucks about this drive is that there's no major interstate where you can just kind of sit and coast and drive in a straight line. Going from upstate New York into New Hampshire, the closest thing to a main road that I'll be on is what I'm on now. This is Route 7, so this will take me through the beautiful state of Vermont. We'll be crossing the border into the Bennington, Vermont area pretty soon. And I am due at the Keene Country Club at 9:33 a.m., which is a little early, so I might have to go get some footage in the main town of Keene, New Hampshire, which is a lovely town. I've been there before. College town, kind of a bit of a lib town, but it makes sense because the candidate who I am going to be visiting in Keene is Nikki Haley. Folks, I think I'm being tailed by a Fed. There's this guy who's just riding right on my ass, despite the fact that I'm going 5 over the speed limit on a pretty windy road. It's 55, I'm going 60. This guy wants me to go faster. And I'm hesitant to push the speed limit too much because I have the camera mounted in what to a police officer might look a little suspicious. The mount for the camera, for the phone, was not sticking to the dashboard. I don't know if it's a temperature thing. The tape just lost its adhesive quality. I tried buying some new tape. It wasn't working. So instead what I did was I took my selfie stick, which doubles as a tripod, and I duct taped it to the passenger seat very securely. So there's like a tripod with the camera mounted to it on the passenger seat. And I'm not looking forward to having to explain that to a police officer if I do get pulled over. I mean, this car does kind of look like a Roadhead porn compilation studio now, which I assure my lovely wife it is not. But he would have some questions for me if I did get pulled over. So I can't really push it any more than this, man. Like, I don't even want to go 10 over. I don't want to go 10 over because, these state roads are where they get you. These small towns, rural America, a lot of these towns are speed trap towns, man. You push it too much, they nail you. And I'm not looking forward to explaining to a cop what this tripod is doing duct taped to the passenger seat of the car. All right, I have crossed the state line into beautiful Vermont, a road I've driven many times. Used to work out here in Vermont a couple weekends out of the year. And so it's always nice to be back in Vermont. The road opened up into 2 lanes, and the guy who I thought was a Fed ended up passing me on my right. And now that I get a closer look at his car from the back, guess what license plate? Not a Fed plate, no, Jersey. Jersey drivers, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. You can't get away from them. You think you're up here in the country. Jersey people don't like trees. They don't like grass. They don't like nature. You think, what would a Jersey person be doing up here in beautiful upstate New York and Vermont? Who knows? Maybe he's on his way to the Trump rally. Maybe that's Rudy Giuliani. Who knows? Maybe it's Chris Christie. The car's going too fast for it to be Chris Christie. I don't think a car could go that fast carrying Chris Christie. So it's not him. Maybe Rudy. Look at this, 100-mile view. Look at that view. I really get to test the panoramic features of the new iPhone, which I got just for this trip. What a view. And see, Russell, there's no rattlesnakes out here either. I could just enjoy this view. Don't have to worry about my Achilles tendon being bitten in half by a snake. It's too cold for the snakes up here and out here. Just take it all in. Big crowd here this morning at the Keene Country Club for Nikki Haley. Doors are not open yet. You can see a pretty big crowd here. So what brings you out here? We're at the Keene Country Club at the Nikki Haley events. And what brings you out here today?
See Nikki Haley and support her.
So your mind's made up. You're here to support Nikki Haley.
Yes, I am. She has great foreign policy.
Great foreign policy.
Experience.
So
she brings a calmness.
A calmness. So which of the wars that she's backed is you feel like the most worthwhile? Ukraine?
Yes.
Why is that?
I'm just not going to get into a lot of detail.
You're not going to get into detail, but you like her temperament.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is that the most important thing in your mind? Because I saw some exit polls in Iowa, the people who thought temperament was most important, they picked Haley, not Trump.
There's everything about her.
Now, I don't mean to ask too personal a question. Some people are shy about this because Nikki Haley's got a lot of support from independents and Democrats as well as Republicans. So are you here as Republicans looking to support the eventual Republican nominee, or might you cross over or vote third party if she's not the nominee?
I'm a registered independent.
Got it.
However, I'm a very conservative independent, and I vote for the person I think will do the best job, and I think she will.
First of all, I got to say, hugely impressed by the sweatshirt. Lack of jacket. You're not cold under there?
Nah.
It's freezing. You must be from here.
Yes.
What's going on? You guys are here. Are you here to support Nikki Haley, or are you here to make up your mind?
I am here to support.
You're here to support. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Excellent. So, some people are shy about this question, but I think it's a serious question because she's got a lot of support. According to the Iowa exit polls, she's got a lot of support from Democrats, a lot of support from independents, probably even more so than Republicans. So are you here to support her and the eventual Republican nominee, or are you, I don't want to ask if you're a Democrat too loud here, but are you?
No, I'm a Republican.
You are?
I'm
Okay.
actually from Connecticut and traveled up this weekend.
Oh, so you're not voting here, but you're just here for
but
support.
to show support and to have the chance to listen to her in person. I followed her for many years back, actually when she was governor of South Carolina.
All the way back to
and
like the
then
Iraq
followed-
War and stuff?
Yeah, back to like when she was first elected governor and then when she became ambassador. And I've always been impressed and found her to be very intelligent and just enjoy listening to her speak, what she has to say.
Is your mind made up in the primary, or are
Yes.
you here to make up your mind?
I'm totally voting for Nikki Haley. I've been a supporter of hers since she was governor of South Carolina, and I like her views on the Middle East.
Right, so you've been with her since Afghanistan, since Iraq.
Yeah.
Right?
Afghanistan, Iraq. And I followed her mostly when she was the ambassador to the United Nations, and I think she's probably the clearest thinker of any of our ambassadors to the United Nations. She sees the crap that goes on in this world and she calls it out. She's not afraid to. She's really strong. She understands that for the United States to survive, we have to be stronger than the rest of our enemies, and we have to be ahead of the game.
She's very
vision for the
consistent too. I
country.
mean, she gets
Yes.
points for that. You know, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Ukraine, you know, now Israel. You know, she's unwavering in her support for those kind of military interventions. What's your opinion? What do you think is like, which one of those is your favorite one?
Issues in terms of, I mean, I think the
No, in
best-
terms of the wars I just mentioned.
my favorite war.
Yeah, which one is your favorite?
Well, no war, of course, is the
Well,
ultimate
she, I mean,
goal.
but she likes them.
She doesn't like war. If you
No?
listen to her, she says that her whole strategy, her whole vision in terms of her international policy and foreign policy is to try to prevent war, and if it means to show support for democracy throughout the world.
Well, maybe she needs to
really
become president then, because she hasn't really prevented too many.
She hasn't been president.
All right, that's a good point. That's a good point. All right. Well,
But we'll see. It's going to be interesting race, and she's again excited to be here and have the chance to listen to her in person.
beautiful. Well, if it doesn't work out for her, since you are a Republican, would you support the Republican nominee no matter who it is?
I likely will support the Republican nominee, but we'll see how the next few months play out.
You give Putin Ukraine, he's coming after Poland. He's coming after the Baltic countries. It's not going to stop there. He's going to try to roll his tanks right through down to Spain.
Are you here to support Nikki Haley? Are you here to make up your mind? Are you undecided?
I'm leaning towards supporting her, but this will probably seal the deal or not.
So you think that, you know, we're protecting
We're protecting
democracy
freedom and democracy
in Ukraine.
In Ukraine, 100%.
Just like in Iraq, right?
Iraq, that's more of a quagmire to me.
Well, that didn't go as well.
Well, I mean, I think that, you know, Iraq, Afghanistan, that's all been a quagmire. That hasn't all been completely analyzed correctly. I think that her support for Israel as our main ally in the Middle East is unwavering, and that's probably the main reason I'm voting for her. I adore her, the way she supports Israel.
Look at another tough family here drinking a cold drink from Wendy's. It's 8 degrees out here.
Bombing.
You guys, live free or die state is right. You're not kidding.
I'm from Massachusetts. We just came up to see it.
Oh, okay. So you guys are voting on Super Tuesday. So you're not voting now, but you're just here to help make up your mind. So it's between her and Trump, basically?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. And where are you leaning towards?
I couldn't say at the moment.
When you say Iraq was a quagmire, obviously, you know, she meant that, you know, that was originally the rationale for that was the weapons of mass destruction, and then it was the spreading of democracy to Iraq. Do you think that was folly in hindsight? I mean, you said no. You said earlier.
You know, the end result is not justifying the means. We haven't really created a democracy. I mean, I don't know if we're analyzing what is going on in Iraq. So effectively, there's different people, there's different groups that maybe don't want to be unified. And so therefore, I don't know if we're taking the right approach in Iraq.
Well, the reason I ask about Iraq is because I know with Ukraine, you know, it's a defending democracy project. And, you know, I think you always got to be aware of how these things can go. I mean, for now, I think, you know, that makes a lot of sense. But what if it comes out that, you know, they suspend elections there or, you know.
In Iraq, you're talking
No,
about?
no, in Ukraine.
Well,
yeah.
See, the underlying
like
problem...
if they suspend elections, if they start, you know, imprisoning journalists, you know, that kind of stuff. That's something to keep an eye out for.
The underlying problem in the Ukraine is corruption. That
Right.
has always been the major problem in supporting Ukraine. Like, what are we getting at if they're that corrupt? If the underbelly is that corrupt? But we still have to defend democracy. We still have to defend whether they're... Okay, what country is 100% on the up and up? I don't know any of them right now.
That's true. Are you here as a supporter of Nikki Haley's? So you're not undecided. You're just here to show support.
Not undecided.
And do you live in New Hampshire?
I do. I live in Nelson.
Great. And what draws you to Nikki Haley as opposed to the other candidates?
She's a moderate Republican. I hate Biden and I hate Trump.
Okay.
And, she's moderate Republican, and I think we need a Republican in there, but somebody that's sensible and kind of middle of the road.
So what is your favorite position of hers? What stands out to you most about her?
Fixing the economy and the border, which is a total mess.
Okay.
Really
Well, what do you
mess.
think about her foreign policy?
I think it's logical.
Logical?
You know? Yeah, I mean, I wish she was more supportive. Well, she is supportive of Ukraine. I wish she would understand the problems in Gaza more, because I think it's really terrible what the Israelis are doing.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I think, the Republicans are all for the Israelis no matter what happens, and I think that's unfortunate. But
I think it's unfortunate too, and most of the Democrats are for the Israelis as well.
Yeah, and I just think people aren't seeing what's happening there, and it's just been horrible. I mean, all those people are just being slaughtered, and they have nowhere to go, and it's disgusting, frankly.
Yeah,
So
no, I agree 100%.
You have to, people need to take it seriously what's happening there.
Well, this is a
And
meet
it's
and greet. Are you going to
genocide,
raise that
basically.
issue? It is genocide.
Yeah.
It is genocide. So this is a meet and greet. Are you going to raise that issue with her now?
That's a good point. I might.
Stop Putin from going into Western Europe, and Ukraine is the breadbasket, and you have to stop them at this point in time. Otherwise, they're, like I said, they're going into Poland, they're going into Lithuania, they're going into Estonia.
What issue is most important to you, would you say?
I would start with immigration. We have a problem, down on our border, and it's not being addressed. And I know she's talked about it, but I'd like to hear her speak a little bit more about it, and see specifically what her exact plan is to kind of make it better down there.
I mean, that's understandable, but if it puts your mind at ease, nobody from down at that border is coming up here, man. It is cold up here.
Well,
you don't got to worry about any of them coming up to New Hampshire. Are you thinking of supporting the Republican in the general, no matter what? Okay.
They're going into Latvia. I mean, even the Finns are up against the Russians right now again. They're freaked out. So I think we need somebody. Nikki Haley is the one candidate who has the best handle on international relationships.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
A paper or?
No, I'm a freelancer.
Oh, okay.
If I were with a paper, I'd be inside right now. The press room is open,
Okay.
but I don't have credentials.
Okay.
If I did, I'd be a lot warmer.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Thank you very much.
Get in there soon.
Congress has one job. Their only job is to give us a budget on time. Do you know they've only given us a budget 4 times in 40 years on time? And they don't like the fact that I say, if you don't give us a budget on time, you don't get paid, period. When you look at what's happening on the border, it doesn't even look like the United States of America anymore. I can't believe that we would allow this to happen to our country. It's a complete dereliction of duty. It's shameful how we treat our veterans.
Thank you.
I'm the proud wife of a combat veteran. My husband deployed to Afghanistan. And when he came back home to us, that was a lot of prayers answered. But that was the easy part. When we got home, life got hard. Michael couldn't hear loud noises. He couldn't be in crowds. Life had passed him by for the year that he was gone, and the transition was tough. We're in the Middle East. You've got North Korea testing ballistic missiles that are capable of hitting the U.S. You've got China on the march. But make no mistake, none of that would have happened had we not had that debacle in Afghanistan. The idea that my husband and his military brothers and sisters who served there had to watch us leave Bagram Air Force Base in the middle of the night without telling our allies who stood shoulder to shoulder with us for decades because we asked them to be there. Think about what that told our friends. More importantly, think about what it told our enemies. And now America's just being reactionary. You're seeing multiple wars go up. Now you're seeing Iran and Pakistan. You're seeing multiple things happen. Why? Because they smell blood in the water. And they know America's weak. Look at our #1 national security threat, China.
Do you think that she talked enough about Ukraine in that speech? Do you think she talked about enough about Ukraine in that speech? Why do you care who I am?
Because when someone puts me on camera, I want to know who I'm talking to.
Right, my name's Keaton.
Okay, thanks a lot. I appreciate you. You're really good to meet you. I don't have anything to say. Thanks
Do you think she talked enough about Ukraine in the speech? Is she going to be MSNBC's favorite Republican? She was light on the warmongering today. She was light on the warmongering today. I would think MSNBC wanted more, blood and murder.
Have a great day.
More, Putin on the march, All right, I hope you get what you need. John Heilman, everybody. In the back of your shirt? Cops say legalize heroin. Ask me why. Okay, so now you can turn back around.
Yeah.
All right, now why?
If we let nature, Darwin, decide what to do with drug users, any drug, then I, as a police officer, will have more time to protect you and your family from the drunk drivers, the pedophiles, people breaking into your house, public safety threats. We waste millions of hours chasing drug people in a useless attempt to fix stupid. And everybody at this rally agrees The government cannot fix stupid. But still, after 52 years of drug war, society keeps thinking I can fix your personal stupidity, and of course, I cannot.
So are you here at these events just kind of taking the temperature of the different candidates and the people in attendance?
Yes, that short answer is yes to that, and also trying to spread the message that we need to make drugs a medical issue versus criminal. Because we need to treat these people who have a drug problem with compassion and love, and we should be doing anything and everything to help them through their crisis.
Well, I agree with that 100%, but unfortunately, I don't hear any candidate talking like that. Is that your experience as well?
That's the experience as well. I mean, I love Nikki Haley. I'm going to vote for her if she's a candidate, if she's the nominee. But, you know, talking about we're going to stop the fentanyl from Mexico from doing this or that is complete nonsense. There's already super labs in Canada making fentanyl and shipping it south. If it's a prohibition of opioids, and the longer we have this prohibition, the longer we'll have cartels and people shipping it from wherever else in the world. If the chemicals don't come from China, as she wants to stop, then they'll come from Vietnam or Bangladesh or, you know, fill in the blank country. You know that whenever there's a demand, there's going to be supply, period.
So just got done with the first event. First event is in the books. Nikki Haley at the Keene Country Club. You know, I was talking to some of her supporters outside, and, you know, everybody's very nice, very pleasant. It's a very nice country. You know, even people who can support someone like that, you know, they're just so nice and friendly and humble and simple. And I don't mean simple in a stupid way, although in the case of Nikki Haley supporters, there is a lot of overlap, I will admit. But simple in the sense that there's just an innocence about people that makes you feel guilty really going for the jugular. And so, you know, I tried more my Jewish wit on some of them. But few interesting takeaways from the rally. First of all, I was going to say something to Nikki Haley, but this event was billed as a meet and greet, which meant I assumed that there would be some kind of question and answer period. And I didn't want to get thrown out of the event before the question and answer, since it was actually interesting. I talked to this one woman on the way in who actually mentioned that she's a supporter of Nikki Haley's, but she said she's very disappointed with her stance on Israel-Gaza. And, you know, you will have seen that clip by now if you're watching the edited version of this. But I said, you know, this is a meet and greet. This is going to be sort of interactive, so maybe you should say something to her, you know. And she said, you know, it's a good idea. I think I will. And so I was really hoping that I would see her or maybe even someone else ask a challenging question about that. So I didn't want to get kicked out before the Q&A. But there was no Q&A. So I don't know why they billed this as a meet and greet. This was really just a rally. I mean, she was taking pictures with a few people near the front after. Maybe that constitutes a meet and greet. I don't know. But when you hear meet and greet, you think there's going to be mingling with the crowd and there will be some sort of interactive quality to it. But no, this was just a 30-minute stump speech. I'll show you guys some clips from the stump speech. A lot of talk about immigration, a lot of fear-mongering about China. She starts out talking about the national debt. Nothing about Ukraine, nothing about Israel. She made one vague mention to each. She said there's war in Europe and war in the Middle East, and that's it. That's it. And, you know, I think she knows, obviously, Ukraine is a loser with the Republican base. And even Israel is a loser with a lot of the Republican base. You know, most Republicans, according to that poll that came out a while back, supported a ceasefire. So this speech was very, very light on substance in general, but it was extremely light on the warmongering. I mean, she talked about her husband's military service, which is very convenient for her to talk about because that's a way for her to sort of deflect, you know, from what a warmonger she herself is personally. But that's about it. Other than that, there was pretty much no foreign policy in this speech at all. She talked about the border, she talked about the economy, the debts, and she talked a lot about how both Trump and Biden were mentally and temperamentally unfit. And one of the other things that stood out to me about this, and, you know, because I mentioned that on the way in, I got to talk to, you know, a decent number of people. People in America, like I said, have this sort of innocence about them. I mean, maybe New York beat that out of me. You know, maybe people, you know, who are red-pilled enough to watch a show like ours have had it beaten out of them at some point in their lives. Most of you guys have. But so many people can just listen to such a maternalistic presentation. You know, we can't have a guy like Donald Trump tweeting angrily from the Oval Office. Chaos just follows him, and we need normal people back. We can't have any more of this. And everybody, yeah, just really buying it, like really believing that this woman who has advocated for every murderous, horrible war in their lifetime is moderate and level-headed and sensible. And I knew this going in. This is why I said she has major appeal to the affluent suburban moderates. That's who was online going in. I talked to quite a few of them. That's who was in the room, and that's her base. And you know, from who I talked to, it was mostly Republicans there, but a few independents as well. And so that experience was very consistent with what I've been saying about Nikki Haley, and very in line with my expectations going in.
So I watched in my office first the president's speech that really concerned me. I thought it was appalling. And then I walked across the street, went into the House chamber, sat in the gallery with about 20 of my colleagues, and we started watching this extraordinary procedure. And then my daughters and my family, my wife, started texting me saying, "Is everything okay?" I said, "Of course it's okay. I'm watching the practice of democracy." They said, "No, look outside." And I did. I went with Tom Malinowski, one of my colleagues, outside, looked at a window, and I saw it. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Fights outside between our police officers and rioters. And at that moment, a Capitol police officer screamed at us to get the hell away from the window back into the chamber, and we did. And by the time we got in, all heck broke loose. Slamming the doors, people running off the main floor. Nancy Pelosi exited very fast. They told us we had to put on our gas masks, take cover behind chairs, and seek something to protect ourselves with. But you know what we had available to us? Pens and pencils. Pens and pencils. And those 15 minutes that we were trapped, let me tell you, were the most difficult ones of my entire life, because we thought that was it. Those were our last 15 minutes. My colleagues were in tears, many of them calling home and texting their loved ones goodbye, many of them in prayer. And through a great twist of fate, of course, the insurrectionists did not have guns. They were not coming after us with those, thank goodness, and we were able to escape right before the gunshot that killed Ashley Babbitt right outside the House door. And when we finally escaped, we took the tunnels to a safe room across the street. There were about 20 of us, Democrats and Republicans, sitting in a small room together, watching a TV screen, waiting for our president, to end this.
Due to the recent things that are going on in the world right now, I'm a 4-year combat veteran. And
thanks for your sacrifice, my friend. Thank you. Thank you.
I actually just last Saturday went to D.C. I'm not sure if you knew or anyone knew. A big thing all over the news. There were probably about 500,000 people there with this whole Palestine issue. I don't know where you stand on it, but you're talking about decency and treating people right and taking care of people. And I don't understand why we still have that going on, and I haven't seen you. I've only recently learned about you, but
you and 300 million other Americans.
300 million other Americans, but I haven't seen you publicly come out and say, at a minimum, we need a ceasefire, because, I mean, how many other people have done this kind of trash in the world, and they've been held accountable?
Well, actually, I have, believe it or not. And right now, I should tell you that I'm the ranking member of the Middle East Subcommittee on Foreign Affairs. I have sat at the desk of Benjamin Netanyahu twice this year in Jerusalem. I've told him to his face what I thought, well before October 7th, which is, by the way, I think one of the most atrocious acts of insanity and horror propagated by human beings on others I've ever seen in my life. I hope you never see the videos of what they propagated that day in Israel.
We have seen the videos
Let me answer the
of
gentleman's
20,000
Let me answer the question.
20,000 Palestinians murdered. We've seen those videos. All right.
You might be surprised by my answers.
All right,
Let me just say this, okay?
Yep.
And that was sickening to me. And what has happened since now to Palestinians is sickening to me. I'm a human being. Everything I'm going to tell you today is the same thing. Stop the tribalism. Stop fighting each other. Stop separating based on how you eat or how you pray or how you think or how you live. And I think we should be people that should be joining hands right now, not separating into two factions. That's what I'm trying to prevent. So here's how I feel. I believe in the state of Israel, and I believe it should be safe and secure and prosperous and should exist. When there are 200 Christian majority nations in the world, roughly, there are about 140 Muslim majority nations in the world. There's only one Jewish majority nation in the world. And I will tell you that when the first boats left Europe at the dawn of the Holocaust, where did they go? They came here. And do you know what happened? Right. They were turned away. And nobody can tell me that people of the Jewish faith have a place of refuge other than the state of Israel. Okay, so we got that done. Now, I also believe deeply in the Palestinian cause. I believe deeply that Palestinians should have self-determination. I believe deeply that there must be a state of Palestine created and we recognize. I believe deeply that they should live side by side in peace. I believe deeply that Jews should live in Palestine and Palestinians in Israel. I believe deeply that Hamas is a horrible terror organization that must be eliminated. I believe deeply that Benjamin Netanyahu is part of the problem. I believe deeply that the settlement policy is obnoxious and sickening. I believe deeply that his right-wing government is part of the problem. I believe deeply that he opened up that October 7th attack by being distracted at a time when he was pursuing judicial reform. I do not understand why two things cannot be true at once. I do not have to take a side. I'm going to take the side of humans. That's what I'm going to do. So those of you who believe deeply in human beings, please defend Israelis and please defend Palestinians. Please join me in being the president that finally recognizes the state of Palestine. And believe me, we will not do so with the same leaders in the same positions doing the same damn thing. Okay? That is why I'm saying it is time for new leadership from the West Bank to the West Wing.
Congressman.
And I believe, by the way, I want to answer your question entirely. I have said publicly, well before just about anybody else, that I believe that hostages should be released and concurrently there should be a ceasefire. This horror has got to end immediately. Hamas can be destroyed, but we should not destroy lives on either side, and it is horrifying. But please join me in recognizing two things need to be true at once if your intention is to solve the problem.
Can I ask one follow-up to that, please? Can I ask one thing to that?
I have a question.
No. Congressman, you can kick me out of here in a minute if you want to.
I don't kick anybody out.
Okay, can I please?
I lead with respect, and you're being disrespectful.
That's fine.
I'm giving it to this
in
guy.
three weeks ago, you said in an interview. Okay, first of all, I was for Medicare for all before you were, way before you were, but when you said you needed votes. No, because he's not going to call on me. You said 3 weeks ago.
Hold on, I will call on you.
All right, fine.
If you play by the rules and be decent, you know what? I will call on you.
When?
Okay.
When?
Why am I the only one that thinks? Just
3 weeks ago,
sir,
you said that Benjamin Netanyahu. 3 weeks ago, you said that Benjamin Netanyahu was a bad guy, but you have not said that Israel's committed war crimes. Has Israel committed war crimes? Can you say that? Can you say Israel has committed war crimes?
This is what
there's a lot of evidence. There's a lot of evidence for January 6th being an insurrection, even though by fate, it was a matter of fate that they didn't bring their guns. That's what he tells you. But you have mounting evidence of war crimes and no answer. Hey, so we're outside the Dean Phillips event. I just got thrown out. I'm here with Real Clear Politics. You were just asking me what went on. So, yeah, I was referencing an interview that he did a few weeks ago where he admitted Benjamin Netanyahu was a bad guy, but he seemed very, very stubbornly reluctant to say that Israel has committed war crimes. And I don't know what that's about. I don't know why he can't just admit that. I know he just got a $1 million check from Bill Ackman, who has been going after people for, any sort of dissent on that topic. And so I thought, why can't you answer?
Now, had you tried to ask him this question previously? There seemed to be some animosity there.
No, there was no animosity. I was just trying to get a follow-up in. I mean, the gentleman had asked the question before. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so did you expect that you would be escorted out that quickly?
I figured once, he wouldn't answer me. I mean, I figured it was a suitable time to ask a follow-up question because the question had already been raised. Gotcha. I just said, could I have a follow-up question? That's all.
Now, are you, sorry, I came into the event on the tail end. Are you a New Hampshire voter?
No, I'm from New York.
Okay, so you made the trip just to press the question. Okay. Yeah, he very quickly seemed to say that you were being disrespectful. And, But he didn't give an answer.
Right,
so,
no answer.
Gotcha. Did you get anything on your way out from the Dean Phillips team? Did they say anything to you? Or?
No.
Okay. Who in there eventually said it was time to go?
Oh, I forget.
Okay, but it was clear that they were.
Oh, yeah, it was clear they would push me out.
Gotcha. Well, hey, I appreciate it. And what was your name again, man?
Keaton.
Keaton? Okay, sweet. Keaton, I appreciate this. Thanks so much.
Thanks, man. So we are on our way from the Dean Phillips event, which you just saw, to the main event, the real Americans, the ultra MAGA patriots. We're going to save this country. Donald Trump at the SNHU Arena in Manchester. Now, I was not happy with how that went in there. I admit I got triggered. See, what happened was, okay, so I knew there was going to be a talk back. And so because there was going to be a talk back, I wasn't going to do, no disrespect to the great man himself, obviously, Jose Vega, but I wasn't going to do it Jose style because, I thought if there's a talk back, I would like to ask him this question seriously. And honestly, my hopes is that he would give me a good answer. Like, I swear to God. But there was a veteran in the audience, as you saw, who asked him about Palestine, who asked him about Gaza, and asked him to come out for a ceasefire. And in Dean's answer, he mentions, October 7th, and he mentioned the 47-minute video that he saw. And I admit, I was triggered by that. I get triggered by that. And I butt in. I interrupted. I said, well, we've all seen footage of 20,000 people being murdered. And he's like, please, stop, let me answer. And the veteran who asked the question said, let him answer. So I backed off. Because I was wrong. I shouldn't have jumped in there. But, it's just... That gets me. That is a trigger point for me. When I hear people invoke evidence that only they get to see, that no one else gets to see, to try and tug at our heartstrings about October 7th, when, we've all seen hundreds and thousands of videos of Palestinian women and children being murdered. And so the invocation of that, secret footage sets me off. It always does, and it shouldn't have. I should have been more level about it, but whatever. I blurted out, we've all seen the footage of the 20,000 Palestinians. But then, all right, they asked me to be quiet. So I said, all right, you're right. I caught myself in time. But then after he was done giving his answer, I wanted to ask him the follow-up question, because I watched that interview of him on Crystal and Kyle where he does say Benjamin Netanyahu is a bad guy, and Yoav Gallant, he didn't mention him by name, but, he says basically the Israeli leadership are bad people. And so I was going to ask him, because in that same interview, he said that he hadn't seen evidence yet that Israel had been committing war crimes. And so I was going to ask him if he watched the trial that South Africa brought to the ICJ, and that if he's since seen evidence, in the hopes that he would say, yes, I have. But once I butted in, and they saw I had a camera with me too. I could tell they knew I had a camera. I didn't trust that they would call on me. And so once he got done with that question, as you saw, I said, can I ask a follow-up to that, please? And they were moved on. his eyes locked on the next person. I knew they weren't going to call on me, and so I had to try to get it in Jose style. And I don't think I did a particularly great job, but I gave it my best. And I did mention on the way out that this guy says that fate would have it the insurrectionists on January 6th forgot their guns. Fate would have it they didn't bring guns that day, even though they came to overthrow the government. But that he speaks very powerfully about what threats he and his colleagues were under and what a threat our democracy was under that day, even though fate would have it the people who came to overthrow the government didn't bring guns. But won't say he's seen evidence of war crimes. So, that's how that went. They kicked me out. I knew once I blurted that out and they saw I had a camera on me, I was like, they're not going to call on me again. And I'm not going to have another chance to ask this question. So I tried, and it was a simple question. It was a simple question. I wasn't planning on a prolonged back and forth, but he wasn't going to answer it. He wasn't going to answer it. He was just going to count on the guys to drag me out, which they did. And so that was Dean Phillips. That'll be my first and last appearance at a Dean Phillips event. But now we're going to Manchester. The snow is starting to fall. Roads are still great, though. And we'll be at the SNHU Arena in about 20 minutes. All right. You guys are bringing the goy out of me here at the Donald Trump event, and guess what I'm doing? I'm paying for parking. That's right. You broke me. Hi. Yeah. If I'm not going to the Trump rally, how much is it?
What's that?
If I'm not going to the rally, how much is it?
Still 30.
Still 30?
Still want to charge a hotel guest.
If I go to a Maryann Williamson rally while I'm here, is that extra?
Please take the parking
ticket. All right.
Following
all right. All right. Try to get a 2-for-1. Try to get a Maryann admission out of him too. I don't think you knew who she was. But you see what I do? You see what I do for you people? Paying for parking. $30 to park here. Could have tried to park on the street, but I'm assuming those spots are all done. Plus I gotta get out, I gotta get to work. It's a business expense, right? This kills me. This hurts me like nothing, I tell you. Nothing ruins a Jew's evening like paying for parking. Here's up with a super chat, folks. Help pay for this parking. I know we raised a bunch of money to do this, but we didn't budget for parking. Jews never do. So I'll have to work this off. See you out there. All right, Dissidents. I'm here outside the Donald Trump rally in Manchester, New Hampshire. I've seen Nikki Haley today. I've seen Dean Phillips today. But I got everybody's favorite candidate right here. Who's this guy? You all know this guy.
It's me, kids! Vermin Supreme from the... Turn it!
So you're running again this year?
Yes, I am. I'm strolling, I'm skipping, I'm hopping, I'm jumping on one foot. I'm doing jumping jacks and windy mills, all the things. And yes, I am running for the presidency of America. I paid my $1,000 motherfucking dollars to get on the ballot here in the great state of New Hampshire. And I have a prediction, and that prediction is that I will crush Dean Phillips. Thank you.
Good bet, good bet. Now, you were at the Ron DeSantis rally a couple days ago?
Yes, I was. It was just last night, sir. It went well beyond expectations. We had a lot of fun. I showed up. It was a very small room, and you could tell. I'll tell you this. You can tell a campaign by its advance team, and if your advance team's a little sloppy, I'm going to probably mess with you a little bit. And in this room, I was able to sort of muscle my way to the front of the place. I was able to greet the voters, talk to the voters, and then I took the little riser and gave a little speech and like that. And it went super viral. It was very effective, a simple yet harmless yet very effective stunt. That Laura Loomer retweeted a nudie picture of me to discredit DeSantis. I had a lot of people are very confused. People who were not sure whether DeSantis had me as an authorized warm-up act or not. And if they did, they question his ability to make that decision.
Well, he should have you as an authorized
You
warm-up
would
act
think.
because
Totally.
you know why? Because you're the only guy whose boots are bigger than his.
Oh yes, yeah. It was Bootgate. It was a Bootgate reference.
Exactly,
Bootgate
yeah.
2, for sure. I actually went there and introduced myself and said I'm here to see if Ron DeSantis will really put a boot on his head. And
Right.
yeah, so it was a great little stunt. It was a lot of fun.
Well, how's it going out here with the Trumpers?
We're on our way. We're going to find out.
All right, you going to win some hearts and minds?
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, let's follow Vermin Supreme.
It's me, Vermin Supreme. Of course he can. Of course he can.
Yes. Okay, can you have him? Please, thank you.
Here, hold the toothbrush.
Oh my God.
All right, say T.
So we are here outside the arena in Manchester. Pretty massive crowd. Line is back a huge ways. Doors open at 2 o'clock, but it seems like the bulk of the people are arriving now. So this guy's out here in, what is it, 5-degree wind chill?
I don't know, but it's goddamn cold.
Vest with your collared shirt. You look like the kind of guy who'd probably vote for him even if he got locked up, right?
I would. I'd bail him out of jail.
Yeah, you look like you're pretty devoted.
I would bail him.
You bailing out?
Bonjour.
What do you think? You think they're going to try to put him in jail? You think they're going to put him in jail?
Never.
Never?
Never. He'll never go to jail. Biden's got to go to jail. Creepy Joe.
That's right. But you don't think they'll do it anyway?
No.
Creepy Joe's got to go.
That would unleash the thunder, he says. Well, yeah, this is a pretty loyal army out here, I'd say. There's a lot of thunder out here.
Yeah, Creepy Joe has to go.
Don't be a Democrat. See me for a Trump hat.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Why decided to come out here to the Trump rally?
Because we're proud to be an American.
They want to stay cold.
Be an American, where at least we know we're free. And Biden lied and came around and fucked it all up for me. So I gladly stand up and talk my shit, cause I know no one else will. And if Trump gets to be president again, we'll rise up out of hell and we'll gladly stand up, be American. Hey, Trump 24.
His breath smells like
Yeah, and your breath smells like shit.
Hey,
What's up? Yeah.
there's a reason that nobody is standing out here for Nikki Haley's fucking little appearance. I'm out here in the 0-degree fucking temperature for Donald Trump. No one's doing that for Nikki Haley, for Ron DeSantis. No one.
How long you been out here?
Oh, hour and a half now.
Hour and a half
Came from
now.
Connecticut.
Came from Connecticut. Wow, you guys look like you're a very loyal army here, braving the elements.
Yes, sir.
So why Trump again?
Why Trump again? Because just look across the street at the gas prices and you'll see why.
Let's see. Oh,
It's not as bad as it was.
No, it's
but
not as bad as it
It
was.
still is bad.
Inflation is terrible.
Inflation.
Border.
Border crisis is terrible. We need to have America be great again.
What are you guys doing out here? You guys look like you're pretty devoted. You guys look like.
Judging us on our looks.
What's
Why are
that?
you judging us on our looks?
I'm not judging you on your looks. I'm judging by its fucking.
Oh, no, we're into it.
We're into it. Yeah, no, you see,
we're
it.
into it.
How long you been out here?
Probably 2 hours.
At least 2 hours.
Now they said they opened the doors at 2 o'clock to this thing,
Well, they did, but
there's still a way to get in.
Oh, I mean, we've been waiting for 2 hours. We wait for 2 more, right?
yeah, it's.
So how into it are you? So what do you think? You think he's got this in the bag?
I mean, I think he's doing better. Biden's running for governor, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good, but I think.
I don't know. Creepy Joe, slow Joe. I mean, he's an idiot.
What do you think about the other? What do you think about the other Republicans, DeSantis and Haley?
Nikki Haley, she's a smart girl.
Ron DeSantis
is a smart guy.
We respect the opponent.
This state.
Hey, Nikki Haley cheated on her husband.
That's right.
Go ahead and trance. Say, oh, this is for my husband. He's in the military. Blah 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 blah. Nikki Haley, you cheated on your husband. You fucking whore.
Hey, what do you think about that shit with Trump, the spots on his hand? They're saying he's got the syphilis?
Yeah, okay, that's the best you can come up with?
I'm just saying,
Nikki
I'm not saying
Haley
it's true.
legit cheated on her husband.
I'm not
She
saying...
cheated on her husband. Infidelity. Do you know what infidelity is?
Well, I'm saying if
Nikki
he has
Haley
syphilis,
cheated
that would mean
on
he
her
did it
husband.
too, right? I'm not saying that's what he's got.
Nikki
She cheated
Haley
on her husband just like your wife will.
Yeah, you fucking cuck. You're a cuck. You're a cuck. Just like Nikki Haley's husband.
Let's say he got it. What's the big deal?
What?
Let's say he got it. What do you think the thing on his hand is? I'm not saying it is syphilis. I'm saying, yeah, he's saying he banged it on something. When he was in court, they said he got angry and he hit the desk. It's not syphilis.
That doesn't even matter. Look at Nikki Haley.
Look at little Amy.
Would you rather your wife cheat on you or you hit your hands on the fucking desk?
Of course I'd rather hit my hand on the
That's
fucking
what I
desk.
fucking thought, buddy.
So, folks, we are now quite a few blocks away from the arena. This line just keeps going and going and going. Your second rally in 2 days?
Yeah.
Second rally in 2 days. So, you just made it to the back of the line here. We're probably 4 or 5 blocks away. Got to get your steps in. That's right. That's right. So, what do you think of these turnouts?
You know what? It is beyond words, beyond blatant as to the disparity, the difference between people on the left and people on the right.
Well, not just that, but I mean, I was at a Nikki Haley event this morning. I don't know if that constitutes left to you.
No, I'm saying, like, I have a lot of friends I grew up with and such that are on the left,
right?
Predominantly.
Right.
Girls I grew up with
Right.
that are, like, raging liberals.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you, I sit there and I say to myself, I'm like, you know, high school, grade school, I was there. And these girls that are raging liberals that are the way that they are, they weren't mixing and going from group to group to group. They were
What do you mean?
They were staying consistent to only hanging out with their little groups. So
Right.
their whole virtue signaling, you know, all inclusive. Talk is cheap. They don't back it up.
This looks like a pretty devoted following here. You guys look like the kind of guys who would probably vote for him even if he did get thrown in jail, right?
Why would he go to jail for?
I'm just saying if they throw him in jail, you know, if they get him on something. I'm not saying they should. I'm saying, you know, they seem pretty determined to stop him, don't they?
The FBI seems determined. The CIA seems determined. Fannie Willis and her boyfriend, who getting 700 grand, seems pretty determined.
Exactly.
Yeah, they seem very determined.
And when Trump says, you know, they're not coming for me, they're coming for you, I'm in their way, what do you think he means by that?
He means that when Obama had the IRS going after conservatives and Christians, when Joe Biden had the Justice Department going, when 2,700 people were locked in jail, being threatened with 20-year felonies for walking in the White House, that's the kind of thing he means.
Do you think they're going to try and put Trump in jail? Do you think they're going to convict him in any of those cases? And then what happens after that point?
You know what? The whole idea of their pursuit of their cause, they don't care about right or wrong. They only care about getting their way. If there's a way that they can lie, cheat, or steal, they will.
There seems to be a real theme of this campaign, the weaponization of government against the people, and that's why I think a lot of people responded to Trump so much in this primary campaign, especially.
Absolutely.
You think he's the only one that really represents a bulwark against that kind of intrusion?
He's the only one who stood up to it, who really knows knows it from the inside, who has the courage and the knowledge to take it on and change it. I think we have a lot of other good candidates, but he's the only one who's really prepared to make a change.
You know what? I heard someone online refer to him as being the human form of a Molotov cocktail. And I will tell you, with that camera shining around everybody in every direction, there is no shortage of people that are pissed off enough about what's been going on here for a long time, and call it, you could say, uniparty, the left or right. I mean, come on. Nikki Haley, if I had $1 for every Nikki Haley ad I've seen in the last week, I think I could buy a house and not even need a mortgage. The amount of money that's getting lobbied, given to her. What's his face? The puke. That's the captain of the ship for BlackRock. I'm spacing his name right now, but he's one of her backers.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Who the hell is it?
And when it comes right down to it, the left or right, they don't care which party it is as long as they get their way. I mean, no one nowhere. I mean, a person who supports Biden, good luck to them with a straight face, trying to say that they think he's legit. He's not legit. I mean, it's sad. I mean, he is arguably.
He makes money and he gets his workout in.
Arguably, somebody should be being persecuted for elder abuse. That guy is beyond words. He's not in control. He's a puppet. And I see from looks around, a whole lot of people have figured out that they sure as all hell they don't want. The only reason Biden hasn't been taken out is that if they do take him out, they get Kamala Harris.
Well, that's why I think Biden picked Kamala Harris. I think he picked her because he knew that she was an insurance policy against them forcing him out.
I don't think that's why he picked her.
Why do you think that?
I know that's why he picked her.
Yeah.
I don't think. I'm not pretty sure. I know.
What sets Trump apart for you guys? What's the biggest issue
His last
for you?
run, the economy and the border and the lack of war and terrorism and just a lot of different things.
So lack of war, yeah, that's a huge one.
Yeah.
That's a huge one.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be a lack of war.
We got
now.
4 of them going on right now. So.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on those? Like, what are your thoughts on Ukraine?
They need to be more dependent on themselves.
And what about Israel? Israel, Gaza?
I'm a firm believer that the Bible says that Israel will never be taken.
Right.
So, people that are attacking have been doing it for many, many, many years, and it's just not getting them anywhere.
So, why Trump? Why Trump again? Out of all these choices.
I learned. He's the only guy that can get it done.
Only guy that can get it done?
That can get it done. Get things back to where they need to be. There's too many reasons.
Too many reasons? Well, what are the biggest couple? The things that everybody's been talking about are the border and jobs. That seems to be
the border.
number 1 and 2.
They do more for people at the border than they do for their own. It's a disgrace.
Now, what do you think about the Ukraine funding and all that?
It's got to stop.
That's got to stop.
It's completely got to stop. They've had enough.
So it is 14 degrees out here with a wind chill of 0. The wind chill has reached 0 degrees here in Manchester. And as you can see behind me, the line just keeps going and going and going. Just an unbelievable crowd on an unbelievably cold night. So if you look over here, following the line, I'll point this so you can see it in just a second. It's all tough to get people to talk, I did all right. Had some conversations with some people, but it is absolutely brutal out here. You have people wearing COVID masks out here for warmth, which is actually not a fucking bad idea. That's part 1, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Woo! Intermission. That was day 1 on the trail.
That was awesome, man. And remember, not only did he shoot this over the weekend, he got back last night and edited this entire documentary.
I had to edit it today. We were on the Jimmy show earlier. He asked me on. I assumed for one segment, and then he kept us on. And during the Rumble break, I had to say, "You mind if I duck out? Because I got to finish the video." I've been putting this together. So yeah, hope you guys dug that. We got plenty more. Don't go anywhere. Plenty more to show you guys. We got Nikki Haley number 2, and then we got Maryann. But let's take some super chats and some Rumble rants, shall we? While we are paused here. Pat Donahue, any plans for covering Cornel West on the ground? Still think we should be illuminating his campaign as much as possible. His message is still ours. I would love to cover a Cornell
If it were actually running, we would.
Yeah, if he had more events. But yeah, no, I would absolutely love to do that. For sure. Sashimi Seductions, thanks to the $4.99. I bought 2 Cornel West shirts in June. Could only wear 3 months before it got embarrassing. At least I could wear my AOC shirt for a year before she sold.
Well,
out.
you know what used to be on my bookcase? My postcard from when I campaigned for her in her first run in Congress.
Right.
That's been retired to the back room. That's where all the misfit toys go. In
all
my
the misfit,
house.
right?
The back, they wind up in the back room.
Sashimi again. West's message of not going hard on Biden because Trump is Bernie's message, not ours. His Trump derangement syndrome makes him politically useless. Is he even in New Hampshire? Well, he doesn't need to be in New Hampshire because he's not running in the Democratic primary, so he can go wherever he wants on his own timetable. But yes, I mean, if there's a rally that's nearby, I would certainly go. Axel Strife, Nolan's weather this week, upper 60s and rainy.
Yeah, the weather's going to break now, but yo, the first night I was here, it was fucking brutal, man. Like where you got to sleep with the covers over your head so your breath will warm up your face. It was like that.
Right. Yeah, no, it's been like that over the weird weather seems to have followed you.
Well, it's all over the country.
Yeah.
Like LA was unseasonably cold too.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it goes wherever you go. Eric Rousseau, thanks for the $2. I can't deal with the hickory coffee. What hickory coffee?
They have hickory coffee here, but you don't have to get
that.
It's not like they make you get the Hey boy, you ain't getting that Northern coffee. You getting that hickory coffee, you like it or not, sir. Don't insult a Southerner, sir, by ordering that Northern coffee.
Couple things from that first half we're gonna have to put on our sound drop. The guy with the proud to be an American song. He was great. He was great. They were fun.
That you were great, man. Yeah, great pause. You know, you with the Trump people or with any of these people, you gotta be careful. You can't make them feel because they're very sensitive to if you're making fun of them.
Exactly. They have their triggers. And especially at the Haley events, I had to be especially conscious of that because there's small crowds and there's cops and there's Haley staffers there. So if you piss one of them off and you mix it up, they might not let you in. And I really wanted to get in.
Right.
As you'll see in the second half, I got into a second one and was escorted out. Eventually.
Escorted out. No, I mean, you found your places where you could pose, where you could pull the Michael Moore thing without them catching it.
Exactly. That's what
so.
You had
Which
to
was
do.
Your favorite war? Like you picked where you could do that without them picking up on it. So nicely done, man.
Yeah, you had to do that. You couldn't go at them as much as you wanted to, especially at the Haley event. And then with the Trump event, like those guys, that one guy was wasted. And, you know, I have enough years, on my back now where I know, like, you can push a drunk guy to here. You don't want to push a drunk guy to here. Like, you can prod him a little bit, but there's a point at which it could go sideways and you could have a big problem.
Well, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Like the guy, the Nikki Haley is a whore guy. Oh, that's definitely a guy who, if you pushed the right buttons, would have taken a swing.
And by the way, if you notice, he had his jacket was a Lockheed Martin jacket.
Was it really?
Big, anti-establishment guy there. Yeah, exactly. But when a drunk guy, like when he started saying, you're a cuck, you're not a man, it was funny, it was fine. But past that point, I'm like, all right, now it's time to move on. Because then you push it past that point, then it can get dicey.
No, you handled all that with a lot of emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
And the parking bit killed me.
Yeah. parking bid was pretty good. Hey, this is our friend Jose Vega. We got our documentary on Jose, which is going to be premiering a week from this Sunday, so almost 2 weeks. 2 weeks from yesterday. But thank you, Jose. Russell, what's up with the getup? Are you in Maui?
Well, I was trying to go for a Jimmy Buffett thing the best I could with what I had laying around.
Yeah.
But as everybody knows, I am in NOLA. I am in New Orleans.
Yeah. Russell
I'll tell you, what's interesting coming now? Because it's already Mardi Gras season. You do have Mardi Gras parades going on, which, I'm so sad. I just missed it by a couple of hours with when my flight got in. They had the Chewbacca's parade the day I got in, which is a science fiction, fantasy themed Mardi Gras parade. But yeah, no, the Mardi Gras parades are already going on, but the tourists are not in town yet. I've never been here when it was this empty because it's fucking freezing cold. Right. So nobody's going to come here really. And it's not the period the tourists come for Mardi Gras. They really come for that last week, which I will be here for. I'm going back to LA to Jimmy's to guest host for a couple of weeks on and off. And then I'm coming back. So I will catch the last few days, but I've never been in New Orleans when it was like cold and empty like this. It's pretty interesting.
Huh. Yep. Russ will be back in LA pretty soon. The movie Angel Heart.
By the way, before we move on, Jose will be on for the February 2nd show with a very special announcement.
Oh, beautiful.
On the Jimmy Dore show.
Nice. Excellent. Oh,
no,
great.
February 3rd. February 3rd. Right?
No, it's February 2nd. That's a Friday.
No, Saturday. His schedule's different.
Oh, his schedule moved. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
that week
awesome.
He's doing Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Okay. That's awesome. That's terrific. Do you think, says Sparky, thanks for the $10, maybe AIPAC had DeSantis suspend his campaign now because they realized that Trump may be the only one who may be able to save Israel from its current self-destructive path? Pardon me. No, I take the Occam's razor approach there. He was going to get really hammered in New Hampshire to the point where, his campaign was over. He played it very weird. I wanted to go to a DeSantis event, but he did like an event in New Hampshire right after Iowa. Then he left the state, said he wasn't coming back. Then he put an event on his calendar, but on the website, you had to be a DeSantis supporter to access the event. So I signed the email list just to get, hopefully, a notification where the event was going to be, but I never got one. And then they canceled it anyway because he suspended his campaign. So that was just that was just a big mess.
Well, man, our friend Reef Breland over at INN was having a lot of fun at my expense on X. He clipped me predicting DeSantis. So I'm just going to say to Reef, I think he's got them exactly where he wants them right now.
Russ is going to be the H.A. Goodman of the Ron DeSantis campaign, just no matter what.
You see what happens at the convention, Reef. You see what the delegates do to Rob.
He'll never
Trump
get that
and give it to
$20 out of you.
DeSantis.
You'll just keep insisting
they'll
that
think
he's
DeSantis can get the MAGA people and Nikki can't. So they go with this, but he's still their creature. You wait and see. And on that coffee note, beignets.
Oh, there you go. Beautiful.
Beignets and a nice coffee. So a beignet, for anybody who's from the East, it's basically a Zeppeli. It's basically a square Zeppeli.
I hear some people on Rumble saying that was a good show. It's only half over. We got 40 more minutes. We have part 2 coming up in just a little while. We'll take some more super chats, then we'll break for part 2, and then we'll get the rest of the super chats at the end. This is gold. Keaton says Tusker. Thank you, Tusker. And look at Tusker giving us $100. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Really appreciate all the unseen footage with the donation. So here is more for future projects. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hold on. Let me get positioned here to do this. All right. Ready? Well, this is the cowbell.
Well, this is the cowbell.
Here we go. All right. So thank you, Tusker. It's very kind of you. We appreciate that very much. Pure and Boom 77. Great job. Reminded me of early NBC Letterman remotes. A compliment. Yes, once upon a time, Letterman was good. I think I remember what you're talking about there. Yep. Indeed. Keaton putting in the work, says abiding over on Rumble. We're without Jake tonight, so I have the Rumble rants, but I couldn't do them as well as he does them. Very good job, Keaton. Thank you very much. And the Trump supporters still seem the most fun. Well, yeah, I mean, we'll talk more about this after we play the second half, because the second half is Haley again, and then Maryann Williamson. Rose Blossom, here's thanks for the $1.99. She's moderate in terms of being moderately attractive. She's mid, as they say. That's what I should have said. I should have said that. I wish someone had raised that to me. I would have been like, she's moderate. I mean, so some people call Nikki Haley a moderate, or in other words, mid. Is Nikki Haley mid? That would have been a good question to ask them.
Yeah, so I think Keaton's got tall poppy syndrome, man, because all these people asked him who he was. John Heilman asked who he was. Real Clear Politics asked him who he was. He never said do Dissidence. I think he was afraid it was going to be like a Guardians of the Galaxy thing. I'm Star-Lord. Who?
It just didn't occur to me. It's just weird. It doesn't occur to me to do that. I have to just get used to that. I should have just told him, Keaton, with...
I always do that.
I know you do it, and it's a good thing to do. I should do it. I got it for next time. Everyone here looks like they are stoned at the Haley event. Is that what you were talking about, or at the Dean Phillips? But yeah, no, the Haley people are obviously much mellower, as we'll see as we go on. P. Walker, thanks for the $5. Bird Brain was born without a genuine bone in her body, a living embodiment of walking, talking, corporate tabula rasa. Thank you, P. Walker. Appreciate that very much. Dean is another double-speaking jack-off. Yeah, we'll talk more about that afterwards. That was the part I didn't drop on X because I wanted to save some stuff for you guys.
Tusker wants our money back.
I could have used a little more cowbell.
Tusker, great job, Keaton. Thank you. And Lone Star, yeah, somebody came through and compensated us for that parking. Here's my last $30 for your parking. I'm Christian. Thanks for the show. Much appreciated. Thank you, Lone Star. Appreciate that.
Now he won't have to take melatonin to sleep tonight.
Yeah, exactly. I had a feeling you guys would come through for me. Barbara LeVay, thanks for the $10. Appreciate that. And yes, $30 for parking is a hustle. Loved you guys on JD. Yeah,
Thank you.
Trump events, got to pay for that parking. They know how to squeeze it out of you. Not that wasn't the campaign, but that was the garage.
You don't even get a Trump steak or like Art of the Deal or anything.
You should get a bumper sticker at least.
You should, at least a bumper sticker.
Yeah. And thank you for the compliment, Marcus. Appreciate that.
All right, that Maryann thing, that was hilarious.
What's that?
Do I get into the Maryann event with the parking?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If I go see Maryann, can I go see Maryann? Is it extra? All righty, folks. We will get to everybody's super chats in due time. I think we're caught up on Rumble Rants for now, but it's 10:30. We got another 40 minutes to go, so we're going to mute up again. We'll play part 2, day 2.
You muted.
Oh, we'll see you guys in about 40 minutes. Sorry. Here we go.
Hello, Dissidents. Back for day 2 on the trail. It was supposed to be warmer today, but according to the TV, it's actually colder. It is windier than yesterday for sure. Wind chill this morning when I woke up on the weather was -5. It doesn't feel quite that cold now, but it is pretty nippy out here for sure. So a couple of events today. Nikki Haley in the morning, and then an afternoon delight with Maryann Williamson. So we're going to head out and get to work. We'll see you soon. Hey everybody, I am on I-93 heading south towards the small town of Derry, New Hampshire. I got the road pretty much to myself this morning. That's why Sunday morning is such a pleasure to drive. So it's a nice easy ride, about 40 miles south of where I was camped for the night. Derry, New Hampshire, the rally at a middle school there for Nikki Haley. Yesterday, I mentioned at her event, which was pretty packed for what it was, pretty small venue, but she definitely packed it out. This I'm assuming is a bigger venue, assuming it's in a gymnasium or something like that. We'll see when we get there. But new tracking poll out of New Hampshire has Trump up big, 55 to 36. So if there's any kind of margin like that on Tuesday, there's a chance she drops out. She might not. She may stay in because South Carolina's next, but all signs point to this thing being practically virtually locked up past Tuesday. She needs to make it close here. She really needs to win here to have a chance, which at this point I'd put the odds at less than 1% that she'll actually pull out a victory. But so it looks like past Tuesday the primaries will be no more and you'll be in general election season, at which point the most interesting developments are not on the campaign trail but in the courtroom, because Trump has a bunch of court cases coming up over the rest of the winter, excuse me, and obviously into the spring. And so do these candidates suspend their campaigns and leave them in a dormant phase until Trump gets locked up, if that's going to happen? Possible. But in terms of the primary, in terms of this, what we're seeing now, events, rallies, horse race, looks like this is going to be pretty much over in about 48 hours. So we'll see what kind of closing arguments she makes here. She's got a few events today. I think she's got one tomorrow. So these are her last chances. Yesterday, she played it very, very safe in her speech. She basically did the standard, Republican deficit, hawkishness and border stuff. And then she attacked Trump just the same way she attacked Biden, temperaments, fitness for office, blah, blah, blah. From a policy standpoint, she played it very safe. We'll see if she gets a little more aggressive today, given the ticking time clock and the fact that Donald Trump expectedly opened up a bigger polling lead, according to this last batch of polls, than he had just last week. And we figured that would happen. We figured Iowa would give him a major bounce heading into New Hampshire, since that's kind of how that inevitability factor works. Once even your opponents start talking about how inevitable your candidacy is and your nomination is, you tend to get a pretty big polling bounce out of that, and he has. And so the Nikki Haley campaign definitely on his last legs heading into these past couple days of events. And so we'll see if that affects her strategy at all. I'll take the temperature, no pun intended, of the crowd there. I hope to get some interviews on the way in. Maybe some on the way out. The Maryann rally this afternoon is pretty close to Derry, so I can spend a decent amount of time here at this event. So that's a good thing. I don't have to rush out like I did the last one to catch the next event. I have some time to hang out afterwards, so hopefully I will. Good morning, everybody. We're here at low turnout Nikki Haley's so-called rally at the Gilbert H. Hood Middle School in Derry, New Hampshire. See that? Right above me there. As I turn around, that's the parking lot right now. People waiting in their cars because it is freezing. Granted, I'm here early, but I'm not here that early. Doors open in less than a half an hour. So, not good. Believe me, not good. We'll see if I'm proven wrong. I'm sure they'll show up. But, not a line like yesterday, that's for sure. So, I see your Haley button. Haley for
Absolutely.
president. So
Haley for president.
So your mind is made up then. You're not here as an undecided.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm out here to vote Haley and support Haley, and I've been supporting her from the very beginning, since since the whole campaign started, basically. I would say in the summertime.
And what are the main issues of hers that you like? What makes her stand out to you?
I think that she really has fantastic foreign affairs experience.
So you're undecided. So you're making up your mind.
I'm making up my mind.
Have you been to any of the other rallies so far?
No, the last rally I went to was for Hillary Clinton.
Oh, okay. So you're an independent or a Democrat? Or I shouldn't have said Democrat too loud here. There's not that many people here yet. Undeclared. Okay. Yeah. So you're not committed then to voting for the Republican nominee no matter what, right? Your mind's completely open?
My mind's open.
But are you guys independents? Are you guys...
We are
so, okay,
independents,
so you're
but-
not committed to voting for the Republican ticket either way?
I consider myself a lifelong Democrat. This is the first time I've ever been voting Republican.
When you say foreign affairs, you're talking about,
International.
Right. So the Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Ukraine, Israel.
Yeah.
We're very supportive of all those.
Absolutely.
All of those.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
So you don't think anything? You don't have any regrets about the Iraq War or anything like that?
Well, I mean, that's not a current issue right now. I'm talking
No,
about
I'm just
what's
saying
going
about
on
her
right
track
now.
record of foreign affairs. I mean, that's part
Oh,
of the
I don't have any issue, and I don't judge someone based upon what they did in the past. I judge someone, but much more what they say they're going to be doing in the future.
Right. What about in the general election? What are you thinking if she's not the nominee?
God help us.
God help us all, because I don't know what's going to happen then. I don't feel like either of them is qualified. I don't feel like I could, in good faith, vote for either of them.
What are you thinking about the general election? I know she has a lot of crossover appeal. I won't ask you if you're a Democrat, an independent, or a Republican, but if she's not the nominee, are you committed to voting for any particular party's ticket?
Not at this point, no.
No. Okay, so you are decided for now, but undecided for November.
That's right,
potentially.
yes.
All right.
Who are you, though?
My name is Keaton Weiss. I'm from Dissidence. We're an independent YouTube channel and Rumble channel and audio podcast. We raised some money to be here today. So are you here as a supporter of Nikki Haley's, or are you here as an undecided voter?
I'm an undecided voter from New Jersey that's come here to just see Nikki Haley.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And what draws you to Nikki Haley?
Nothing in particular other than a good alternative to both the old men that are trying to become a president.
So you're not committed then to vote either way in November or in the primary?
Well, if she becomes the candidate, I think I will vote for her.
All right.
As opposed to Biden, if it is the other guy from Republican, then I vote for Biden.
Then you vote for Biden. Okay, so you would vote for Biden over Trump, but Haley over Biden.
Yes.
Oh, you're from New Jersey as well? All right, great. And you guys are all undecided.
No, I'm not.
From Jersey as well.
Clinton.
You're a Democrat.
Yeah, I'm from Clinton.
Oh, okay. So you're just here to watch.
I'm here to, we always see everybody.
Okay.
Yes. And I'm writing in Biden, so.
You're writing in Joe Biden in the primary tomorrow. Have you been to a Trump rally?
Years ago, I went to years ago, but I'm passing on him, yeah.
Yeah, because those are pretty raucous. I went to one last night just to cover it, and yeah, totally different scene. And they might be getting a little nervous about Nikki Haley, because a few of these guys had some nasty things to say. There was this one guy, he was pretty drunk and he was rowdy, and I don't want to repeat what he said, but he called her an effing whore.
It's a different group than the people in line here, right?
Yeah, this is a much different crowd. Yeah, you guys are much more mellow, for sure. Than that.
Well, it's because half of us are from New Jersey.
That's right. That's right. Well, enjoy. So you're here with New Hampshire for Ukraine. I see you got your flag out here. I've been covering a few of these events. I haven't seen you here before. Have you been at many rallies?
No, not at all. I just got back from Ukraine, as a matter of fact, a couple weeks ago, so I've been pretty tied up here.
So this is obviously the most important issue for you. Obviously, Nikki Haley, staunch supporter of Ukraine. Is that why you're here?
Absolutely.
And are you here to support her, or are you here to just remind people?
Sitting on the fence. Let's put it this way, she's the only Republican I deem worthy of supporting at this point.
So if it's not her, you're probably looking at one of the Democrats who love Ukraine more.
Absolutely.
So, who would you vote for? So you would vote for Biden over Trump based on Ukraine?
Yeah, absolutely.
That and that alone. And why is that?
Given Trump's history of trying to take vengeance and retribution on anybody that's crossed him, and given the fact that it was the Zelensky phone call that led to Trump's impeachment, I think Trump would love to throw Ukraine and Zelensky under the bus just to rub his face in the dirt. I don't think Trump cares about people in general. and he would be content to see Ukrainians get slaughtered. I think this whole nonsense about him being able to solve the war in 24 hours, just like his healthcare plan that he had 4 years to reveal, and he never did, it's just a big lie.
So folks, this is literally the line to get into this event. I've gotten pretty good at gauging crowds. You know, I could tell this was going to be pretty much a stinker from the moment I got here. They had a line, you know, you'll see the footage. I worked the line a little bit heading in. They had a line going from, that's the entrance. They had a line going till this flagpole for, I don't know, 10 minutes. Everybody's filed in now. The event starts soon. I'll head in soon. But pretty abysmal turnout at this event so far. They only had a line here for about 10 minutes. Not good. Believe me, not good.
The majority of Americans disapprove of both Trump and Biden. Think about that. Do we really want to have two presidential candidates in their 80s? Can you look back over here? I mean, there are some senior citizens here. No, let me explain this, because I'm not being disrespectful when I say that. What I am saying is, and it's the same reason why I've said we need to have mental competency tests in Congress. I don't care if you do it for every member of Congress. But the issue is, these are people making decisions on our national security. These are people making decisions on the future of our economy. We all know seniors who can run circles around us. This is the most pressured job in the country. You can't make a mistake on this. And what happens yesterday is just a fact. Trump goes on multiple times saying that I prevented the security on January 6th at the Capitol. I wasn't even anywhere near the Capitol. I wasn't in office. He said it over and over again. The reality is he was confused. He was confused the same way he said Joe Biden was going to start World War II. He was confused the same way that he said he ran against President Obama. It was Hillary Clinton. These things happen because the more you age, it just does, you have decline. Look at Joe Biden. He's totally different now than he was 2 years ago. That's a fact. It's what happens. But more than that, Congress has become the most privileged nursing home in the country. When you look at the younger generation, they want to see us moving forward. They want to see these people getting out of the way. They want new solutions, not the same old thing. So it's not being disrespectful.
Young people want climate solutions.
And we'll talk about that. Hold on one second.
$7 million from oil billionaires. You're back. Except $70 million. Go to a Joe Biden rally. Thank you. You will not be business. Watch your step. You are a climate criminal. Trump is a climate criminal. You are all aiding and abetting the destruction of our future.
You know what what we all need to remember is I'm grateful for protesters like that, because that's what my husband and military men and women sacrifice for us every day to be able to have the power of our voice.
All right, well, good. Here's one more then. Here's one more, as long as you're happy.
No, we're not going to do that. So first
I thought you're
of all,
grateful for protesters. Well, you're not grateful? You just said you're grateful for protesters.
Okay, let her talk.
Get out of here. Seniors should work till they're 80, right?
Let's go. You're out.
You want to raise the retirement age so seniors can work till they're 80. So the Nazis in Ukraine can get the money, and the mass murdering Nazis in Israel can get the money. I mean, she's
Come on. Oh, watch yourself. Watch yourself. Watch yourself. There you go.
That's what he's doing.
He wouldn't live much longer. We wouldn't allow that to have happened. God bless America, that's for sure.
Yeah. Hey, we're back. Kicked out of the Nikki Haley event ahead of schedule. You know, I told you guys on the drive in, I'm going to have some time to hang out after. But then I forgot. I'm like, actually, I got to get kicked out of this one. So I got kicked out a little ahead of schedule, which is kind of nice because now I have time for lunch before the Maryann event. Pretty hungry. Had I not gotten kicked out and stayed to the end and interviewed people after, I wouldn't have time to get something to eat. But now I do, so it worked out nice. I was planning on saying something to the effect of, you know, you want to raise the retirement age on seniors, but you're for all this military spending. And so I think I got that in. Made that point as best I could under the circumstances. Because Trump has been hitting her on Social Security, and it's funny because she didn't include that in yesterday's stump speech. She did include that in today's speech because I guess he's been running ads against her big this weekend on Social Security. So I was going to say something to that effect anyway. But then this young man started calling her a climate criminal. And once they dragged him out, and she said, you know, I'm grateful for these protesters because that's what my husband fought for. I figured, well, as long as she's grateful, then I'll go now. And she didn't act too grateful. It's almost like she didn't mean that. But that was fun. I felt that went much better than the Dean Phillips one. It was much more to the point. You know, there's a learning curve to these things. You figure out how to do it. And they were very nice. They were very cool. Cop was a big guy, man. The cop was a big, strong guy. And he just kind of took me out and pointed to the door, said through those doors. And I was grateful. When I went through the doors, I wasn't sure if he was sending me through the exit door or sending me into a Guantanamo, makeshift Guantanamo type torture cell. I mean, with Nikki Haley, given Nikki Haley, you never know. But no, it was just the double doors, and they let me out. I wanted to track down that kid and interview him because I figured we both get thrown out at the same time. Maybe I'll find him in the parking lot, but he was long gone.
I think he may have ended up.
She regards her biggest job to teach people love through food, offering, as I said, edible love. She wants to introduce food to every child through the meals program. And she says, quote, if they're hungry, they're not going to try it. And if they try it, they're going to love it. In this way, I'm introducing them to love, not food. Our U.S. Senator Maggie Hassan recognized Kendra as Nashua's August Grant Seder of the Month during the COVID crisis. And at a time when so many people were facing financial uncertainty, Kendra worked selflessly, working to provide substantial and popular hot meals to community members in need amidst that terrible crisis. And we really appreciate the work.
Growing up, I just loved to cook because my mom was always in the kitchen cooking for us kids. My dad's an amazing cook as well, but I definitely took a lot from my mother and my grandmother. So that's kind of where my diversity piece comes in, being biracial and having multiple cultures, and then moving here. Going to high school is when we ended up having a lot of Hispanics come. I graduated in '95. So a lot of my friends, I learned, all the rice and beans and empanadas and all that good stuff. So I make a lot of that stuff too. But when it comes to the kids, I think we, working at the school for 5 years, they need to see faces like mine.
I actually don't think that we are guided by a system that doesn't want these stories heard. It doesn't matter if these stories are heard, they just don't want these stories to lead to power. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. When you said love is all we have. No, love is not all we have. We have power, but we have to claim it and we have to exercise it. And that's what our elections are about. The problem is not that Washington doesn't have enough political car mechanics. The problem is that we are on the wrong road. And as Franklin Roosevelt said, the administrative details of the presidency are not the biggest issue. The biggest issue, he said, is moral leadership. We don't need another technocrat. We need a visionary. Now, I am actually not saying that I am the greatest visionary in the United States, but I am saying this: I'm the only one running for the Democratic nomination for president.
thank you for taking my question. Just so you know, while you were talking, Governor DeSantis has dropped out of the race.
Really?
And he didn't endorse you, though. He did not endorse you.
No, he didn't. I hear Trump endorsed Dean Phillips. Yeah, somewhere in the back there.
Hi there.
I'm sorry, and then lady. Yes.
Oh, sorry. No. First of all, I give you a lot of credit for staying in this race. I didn't think there was any oxygen inside the Democratic Party for a primary challenge. I still don't think there's much oxygen for a primary challenge, but I do give you credit for you're in here less than 48 hours to go before the vote, and look at all these people here. At what point, though, do we say that the Democratic Party is the wrong road? You have these three great people here who are talking about feeding kids. If we are not a majority of even the voting public or even the Democratic primary, you mentioned Dean Phillips. Dean Phillips, I was at an event of his yesterday. He threw me out for asking a question about Gaza. He's a walking pile of garbage. And he went from 0% in the race a few months ago. Now he's polling in the 30s. You're down in single digits. I don't mean any disrespect by that. I'm just saying it's not necessarily because of the race you ran, and I don't agree with you on everything for sure. It's because of the party in which you're running. Look around. You got morons on the street here saying we're going to write in Joe Biden. Joe Biden's not even running in this race. He's got people writing his name in 60, 70%. So if we can harness this energy that you're talking about, and I have a lot of respect for that vision, if we can harness this into mutual aid networks with the understanding that we are not a voting majority, but we can harness this power in other ways to help each other survive the inevitable demise of this country, which we all know is coming, do we not? I mean, we feel it, right? It's going to be Biden, it's going to be Trump, it's probably going to end up being Trump. So there you have it, right? So what do we do at that point?
I am 100% not involved in your analysis.
All right, fair enough.
So, first of all, 70% of Americans, 70% of Democrats have been saying for months that they wanted to hear from other voices than Joe Biden. So you can't say that there was no hunger for something else. As far as how
But they're writing him in, though. I'm sorry, I'll let you finish, but they're going to write him in. He's going to win as a write-in.
from New Hampshire?
No, I'm not coming from New Hampshire, but I'm reading the data.
Okay, where do you come from?
I'm from New York.
Yeah, that sounds like a New Yorker talking to New Hampshire.
All right, well, the numbers don't lie. I don't mean any disrespect, Maryann. I really don't. Go ahead.
No, but Granite Staters are going to do one.
Go ahead. I'm not being disruptive. Go ahead.
Let her talk.
Go ahead.
A New Yorker coming to New England and telling them how they feel. I mean, that's really audacious, but hold on just a moment. Hold on. One of the things I've learned about Granite Staters is that they keep things very close to their chests. The other thing that I learned about Granite Staters is how many people in the last few days haven't decided who they're voting for. But I have a good feeling they're not going to necessarily explain it to you. Okay? So we don't know. As far as the single digits, and you said Dean Phillips and doing higher, I was in double digits in the national polls. And this is not just about the DNC, it's about the DNC, but it's also at least as much about money. So this is the way the system is set up, everyone. And I'm talking to you from the belly of the beast. The system is set up that you have to either have huge amounts of money or access to those with huge amounts of money to get anywhere near the pinnacles of power in the United States of America. You ask why there aren't more policies that reflect the interests of the average American. It's because the average American couldn't even get close. It's so expensive. It is hundreds of thousands of dollars just to even get on these ballots. Plus, the DNC has been kicking off not only myself, but Dean Phillips also. Florida, Wisconsin, Tennessee, North Carolina. In my case with the DNC, also making sure CNN would blacklist me. Also making sure that MSNBC would blacklist me. It was almost written in letters across the sky. Whatever you do, don't let that woman have a viral moment. And so what happens is that they work assiduously to peripheralize and marginalize whoever they don't want in the conversation. And they don't want in the conversation anyone who would upset the corporate apple cart. And they don't want to upset the corporate apple cart. I used to think it's because the DNC was chopping wood and carrying water for those corporate interests. And now I realize, no, they are one of those corporate interests. And this is why I'm saying to you, the only way that we can override that is the people. I do not agree with you that we don't know yet what the American people are going to do. Right. You know, Churchill, Winston Churchill said, you can always count on Americans doing the right thing after they have exhausted every other option. Now, I agree with you. There does seem to be this weirdly codependent way that Democratic voters are saying, the DNC says it has to be Joe. The DNC says it has to be Joe. You know, It used to be that people said that the Republicans fell in line and the Democrats fell in love.
Exactly. Now it's the opposite. Yep.
That the Republicans fall in love and the Democrats fall in line.
That's right.
But I see every day people who are sort of seeing through that. You can kind of feel the activation in the air. Now, whether or not any of that activation will move in the direction of sending me forward as I could possibly go in this election, I don't know. I understand that the probability is not there, but I also know all of the forces that have worked hard to diminish that probability. And I feel with all my heart that there's a reason they didn't want more people to hear me, because everything I'm saying is what is in alignment with the express will of the American people. Amen. The American people, one of the things I saw clearly last time running, and I see it this time as well, the American people are not the problem. The problem is a sclerotic political system, which is also at this point a political media industrial complex, which has the audacity to consider itself entitled to determine for people what their choices are. And you have to have a little bit of a sophisticated eye, which you get once you've been in this system enough, to see how much manipulation via media and propaganda put out by the public political parties is part of that. Yes. And what I see myself going through in this race is actually a microcosm of what the system does to people around this country every day. Money is used to squash people. Right. Money is used so that the majority of Americans live constricted by invisible economic chains. Yes. And the game is to squash you. Go away and do as you're told. Go away, Maryann Williamson. You're not one of us. You think I'm going to leave? And let me tell you, you wake up every morning and you take their insults, and you take their smears, and you take their condescension, and you take their derision, and you take their opining about your books that they've never read, and opining about your career that they know nothing about. I am not the kind of woman who walks away when that happens. I'm the kind of woman who says to everybody, please send me $1 so I can stay in. And on top of that, I think it would be a good idea. Vote for me. Let's inconvenience it.
Hey folks, well, that's a wrap on New Hampshire. I'm going home. That went in there the way I wanted the Dean Phillips event to go. That's exactly how I wanted the Dean Phillips event to go. I had a question for her that I figured she probably wouldn't like. And yeah, I understand why she wouldn't like that question. You know, it's 2 days before the election. You got a big crowd of supporters in there. You don't need somebody coming in and red pilling the audience, you know, about how they're about to lose. But I thought that was a good way to sort of bookend our coverage of the Maryann campaign, starting all the way back when our friend Nick from RBN, you know, asked her more or less a version of that same question. Why invest in Democratic Party politics, or even electoral politics in general, as opposed to harnessing that energy for mutual aid? You know, she had these two women there who spoke pretty powerfully at the beginning about how once the COVID lockdowns hit, they used their restaurant to feed kids who needed food, who became food insecure. And so there she was, you know, good on her for platforming, you know, mutual aid activist. And I thought in the context of this campaign and her looming defeat, I thought it was worth raising that point in that room. I wasn't going to be hostile with her. First of all, that was in a little soul food restaurant. They had no cops there. They had no security there. Her team were, a handful of little old ladies. Like, they wouldn't have been able to drag me out. So, it wouldn't have been the right thing to scream at her. And I didn't want to scream at her. Like, that's what I wanted to do with Dean Phillips. I wanted to ask him a challenging but respectful question about the ICJ trial in South Africa's case against Israel. And it was pretty obvious that, they weren't going to let me get that in. And so that unfolded as it did. But, she gave the answer that, look, I didn't fight with her because I knew that was kind of the answer she felt she had to give, because she had to give her supporters the illusion that they were going to win. I think I made my point. Pretty clear. And, as for her bit there about, well, a New Yorker shouldn't be coming into New England and telling them blah, blah, blah. I said, look, you want to, that is a form of denialism. You talk about how, Trump calls bad polls fake polls, right? It's a fake poll. That's what she's doing there. She's saying that these are fake polls. She's saying she's not about to place a distant third behind a Joe Biden write-in and Dean Phillips, a total stooge who just announced a few months ago, but who won the hearts and minds of about 20% of these voters, because these voters are dumb as dog shit. And this has been my critique the whole time. And so look, props to her for letting me finish, for letting me get the question in. I did monologue a little bit longer than most questioners. So look, she was fine. She was fine on that front. I thought her answer was a predictably political answer, given the fact that, she's 2 days from the finish line now. What's she going to say? Yeah, you're right. Nobody should vote for me. It's hopeless. Like, I didn't expect her to say that. I just wanted to communicate the message to that room of people because, they were good people in that room. Like, I didn't have any animosity to the people in that room. It's not like the Dean Phillips where it's all hand-wringing about January 6th and Biden's a good, noble man. Like, it wasn't that. These were decent people in there whose hearts were in the right place, and so I didn't want to, I didn't want to make a scene. I just wanted to plant the seed in their head that, hey, maybe after Tuesday, when you are smacked in the face with the reality that this was all for nothing, think about what I said then. Think about mutual aid then, because that's going to be all you've got pretty soon. It's going to be all this country has pretty soon. And, for now, they're sort of in denial about that because it's the heat of campaign season. And I get that. I don't agree with that. I don't know if I respect that, but I understand that. You're invested in a campaign. It's 2 days before the election, whatever. But hopefully, some people in that room on Tuesday night when the results come in will give what I said a second thought. And, that's a similar impact I wanted to make on the Dean Phillips room. So I was pretty happy with how that went. And props to Maryann for letting me finish and not sicking her old lady army on me to throw me out. Hey everybody, it is getting dark, and so this will probably be the last entry in this series. Heading back, we just got out of the town of Dublin, New Hampshire, so I got a couple more hours on the road before I am back home. Ron DeSantis did drop out. That news broke officially during the Maryann Williamson rally. In fact, one of the gentlemen in attendance broke that to the crowd while we were inside. DeSantis not only drops out, he endorses Trump in his video announcement. Not that that's a huge boost to Trump, because DeSantis' support in New Hampshire was very, very low, mid-single digits. Part of his decision to drop out has to be to just avoid the embarrassment of whatever finish was in store for him on Tuesday. There's no point in waiting after. There's no path forward for him in South Carolina. And, you know, to place third in New Hampshire with, you know, 4, 5, 6% of the vote, which is what he was on track for, it wouldn't have been good for him. In my travels here, I have not seen a single Ron DeSantis lawn sign. Not one. I've seen signs for everybody else. Quite a few Dean Phillips signs, quite a few Nikki Haley signs, bunch of Trump signs, obviously, but none for Ron DeSantis. Biden you're not seeing because he's not campaigning in this primary. He has a write-in team. You know, he has some super PACs who have launched, you know, write-in campaigns for him. But you're not seeing any of the official Biden signs up because he is technically not participating. But yeah, not a single Ron DeSantis sign the entire time I was here. You know, it's all the talk is Haley and Trump with the obvious, you know, massive edge. The latest tracking poll, 55-36. There was one that had 53-36, but he's hovering 50%, and Haley is peaking in the mid-30s, so this thing is all but over. With DeSantis out and endorsing Trump, that makes the end of the primary season, for all intents and purposes, Tuesday, when the New Hampshire vote comes in. It'll be a pretty quick call for Trump, and I anticipate Biden's going to win this write-in campaign, which is part of what I talked to Maryann about. But so many people here in New Hampshire come every 4 years. This is like a thing, you know, how like the Kentucky Derby, you know, draws all the horse racing enthusiasts. It's kind of like that. You know, I met a lot of people here who went to a lot of different events. I would see the same faces at different events, be they Democrat events or Republican events. I saw a lot of the same people go to Nikki Haley and Dean Phillips, even some crossover between Nikki Haley and Maryann Williamson's event. There are people who just get a kick out of it. There are real politics junkies who just like to come here every 4 years. It's like a big carnival for them. They make the rounds, talk to a couple of photographers and press people who I met at the various events, and so definitely a memorable experience. Thank you guys very much for all those who support the show, all those who watch, all those who appreciated our videos that we dropped on Twitter. Thank you especially to those who donated to our GoFundMe, which made this trip possible and will make future trips possible as well. We have some cash left in the kitty to finance some future trips. Being that this primary is pretty much wrapped and done with on Tuesday, we will probably do another general election blitz, if not some other types of things. A trip to Dearborn, Michigan to interview Arab voters about Joe Biden and Israel-Gaza. That's something that I think is really interesting. And so we have a couple of other ideas that we are weighing. But this was definitely a memorable experience. I will not forget this time on the road these past couple days. Thank you guys for making it possible, and thanks for your support. I am going to turn the camera off as the sun sets here because not many minutes of daylight left on the journey home, but we certainly hope you enjoyed what we gave you. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
All right. Russell's got to unmute your microphone. There you go.
Please clap.
Please clap. I should have put please clap at the end. Why didn't I think of that?
Definitely should have put that at the end. All right. Amazing job.
Think so? Think it was all right?
Hell of a lot better than those fucking MSNBC dink motherfuckers.
Yeah, better than the dink. Yeah, exactly. It's weird. Russ and I both come out of theater backgrounds, and I used to do theater shows, and I made some films too. And I would always get more nervous on the night when I would show one of my films than when I had to like act in a play, because And it's the same thing here. Like, you're almost more nervous to show a film presentation because you don't feel like it's in your hands. You know what I mean? Like, when you put on a show, you feel like it's in your hands. You can go and put on a good show. With the film, it's like you could just press play, and then whatever it is, it is.
And if it goes sideways, it goes sideways.
Yeah.
All right, look, before we go any further, while everybody's here, if we're basically going to put this to a vote, and I know the person I have who's going to track this vote, that'll be Tusker, is tired, so let me just get this out there. All right, so folks, it doesn't look like there's going to be much point to covering any more of this primary season. I mean, we could be surprised, but doesn't look that way. As you all know, Ron DeSantis will be chosen at the convention.
Yeah, right. So,
there's no point.
It's a foregone conclusion.
There's
anyway.
no point going through it.
As you all know, Ron DeSantis pretty much has this in the bag.
He has it in the
now.
bag. He has. Look, man, he worked this out with the CIA.
Right.
It's a very crafty move. But okay, so we have money left over for one more dream trip, or we have 3 things on our list, but we would have to do more fundraising. We could definitely do one of these 3, definitely. But then we'd have to fundraise if we want to do the other 2. We could do the other 2, but we would just need more money. Okay. Cover the Julian Assange hearings in London. We can do that. That's going to be February 20th and 21st.
Right. And now by cover them, we mean cover the protests outside. We can't actually get into the courtroom, obviously.
No, but we do have enough left over to do that. Go to Dearborn and interview members of the Muslim community about how they're going to vote and their efforts to essentially boycott Biden.
Right.
Chicago for the convention. We understand that Kit will clear the dishes out of the sink if we go there, and he will throw down an air mattress for us. So yeah, Chicago, that would be kind of cheap, assuming Kit's cooperation. We haven't actually asked him this. We're telling him on the air, Kit, we're staying at your house. And you better like it. You better have some extra keys for us, motherfucker. All right, so we can do one of those 3 without any additional funds. To do all 3, we would need additional funds.
Or to do 2 out of the 3. Yeah, we have enough budgeted for one of those, and then we can add 2 or 3. We'd have to add to our thing.
It would depend on.
All right, so how are we working the voting here? We're doing A, B, and C. I'll make a banner.
All right, sure.
So A will be the Assange hearing.
But we
B,
have to give like a fundraising option.
Yep. D, Dearborn, Michigan, and C, DNC in Chicago. So those are the options. So you type A for Assange hearing, B for Dearborn, and C for DNC in Chicago.
And while we need a D for it, should we fundraise to do all of them?
Yeah. Yeah. That is the question. That is a big question.
All right. So D is to fundraise to do all of it. And then the others are as written.
Right. Exactly. All right. So, we got Rumble choices too. All right. So C, A. All right. I'm going to have to screenshot these.
I told you, I got Tusker on the mission, man.
Oh, she's doing it.
Yeah.
I thought she said she was too tired. Well, Tusker, we got Rumble.
Well, I said she's tired, so we got to do it now. That's why I didn't want to talk too much before we started.
Got it. All right, so I have stuff here. I'm screenshotting the Rumble votes. Somebody voted E, Shiva. Yeah.
All right, that person is co-hosting while I'm away.
Yeah, exactly.
You got the gig.
Wow, we got a lot of votes coming in. Very high turnout. Here, I'm just screenshotting all of our Rumble stuff, and then we will get to Super Chats soon. We will get to Super Chats as well. But, I think I'm going to make that.
You kind of got it. All right.
Go ahead, Russell. What were we going to say?
Kind of got to put up the D, or else people will be confused.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me just do this here. D, all.
But make it clear that involves a fundraiser.
We need money.
We need money.
We need some money. And we do have a Give Send Go open now, which I'll put the link to after this. Now, Russell...
Unlike some folks, as you can see, when you give us money, we'll actually do what you gave us money to do.
Yeah,
if you gave us money for, say, a mystery van, we'd go out in that van with a big brown dog and solve mysteries. We would do it. If we raised money to have an investigative reporting division to our channel, you'd actually get one. You wouldn't just get Nomiki Konst for a few months.
Yeah, right. Exactly. All right. So I'll leave that up on the screen for a little bit, and then we will read some of these here. Tusker, anarchism is a right-wing reaction. Thank you, Tusker. Keaton, this is great. Love your humor. Very interesting. Thank you very much for that. Let me see if I can get this to scroll.
You rock that, man.
Oops, sorry. Let me see if I can get this to scroll. Yeah, look, the way that Maryann event went, I know that was probably a bit anticlimactic for some of you. You wanted me to go off. But the thing is, and I talked about this with Kit and on Jimmy's show earlier, if you notice, when she gave her bullshit, well, where you from, she got some applause, but not much. Not much. And I saw, while I was talking, I had the room with me. I saw a lot of very positive reactions. And that's what you're there to do. Like, I don't really care about the politicians. It's not about the politicians. I mean, they're a non-entity. You're not going to change their mind. She's there to run for office. She's going to try to win no matter what. It's the people in the audience are the people who you can actually get to. And so if I took it to another level and just turned on the room, then the room would have turned on me. As it is, that whole shit about, well, New Hampshire voters aren't going to tell you how they feel, as if there aren't dozens of polls saying you're in single digits. Like, I could have told her that to her face, and it would have been satisfying, and it would have made for good YouTube content. But everybody in that room is going to find out tomorrow night who was telling them the truth in that moment and who was selling them a line of bullshit. And so I thought, let me just leave it.
Look, as much as you all know, I have been on the fucking Maryann tortures people when the cameras are off beat pretty much since I found out about it, relentlessly. But if I were in that room, I probably would have gone that way too.
Yeah.
Because, I can see what the room was like.
And it was a very nice woman who owned this little restaurant who,
what you did had a point.
Right.
Like, there was no real need to litigate that. Maybe if she were in any danger of winning, it might be going at her like that.
Right.
But under these circumstances, like, what you did, yeah. And also, anyone who's never done this, it's really tense. It's really tense getting up and confronting these people. And if, like with Maddow, if I had an opportunity to talk to her that way, I would have. There was no such opportunity. You had one, so yeah.
Right, exactly. That's the other thing. Like with the Haley event, there was no opportunity. You had to just
You had to do it where you had to do it that way. You did it that way. Maryann, yes, to her credit, didn't force you to handle it like that, so you didn't, and that was the right call.
Yeah, I thought so. And that's what I wanted the Phillips event to go. I wanted it to go that way too. I admit, when he said that thing about that 47
you got triggered.
It triggers me. It really does. It's just so insulting. Like, it's so offensive. Like, to invoke this secret evidence that traumatized you when we've all been traumatized over and over again by everything we've seen. So yeah, that just
I always tell folks, man, it's not that I'm more of a hothead than Keaton. It's that we have different things that trigger us.
Yeah, different things. Yeah, exactly.
I get triggered by Scientologists. Keaton will be like, Xenu, whatever.
Yeah, everybody's got something. Everybody's got a hustle, Everybody's got a racket.
Everyone's got to eat.
Yeah, everybody's got to eat. Yeah, exactly. Damn, that's organic, folks. Trump wins. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Todd S. Reposted a pair of pics from a Bernie rally in 2016. MAGA hats that would have voted Bernie if he hadn't been cheated. That angst and energy was just freely gifted to Trump. But Russia, yeah, indeed. Yeah, that one guy was kind of red-pilled. There was another guy who was hilarious who just had no idea what he was saying. But then upon watching the video again, he seemed like he was like mentally not all there. And so it would have been exploitative to put it up. I didn't realize it in the moment, but when I watched it again, I'm like, you know what? This guy might actually be like unwell. And I will admit to you guys, that Ukraine guy, that was the only guy who I was like, honestly, a little bit of a pussy to confront. Like that guy was liable to snap my fucking neck if I said the wrong thing.
Go right for the windpipe.
Go right for the windpipe. I was like, I don't want to come back dead from that. Yeah, right, exactly. He would just give you one of those if I prodded him. So I just like let him just do his thing. I had to interview him. I mean, how could I not? But yeah, I wasn't gonna try any cute shit like I did with the middle-aged women there. Yeah,
fair enough. No, I mean, when you're in these situations, like you do have to worry about your safety, man. Like, mob psychology. You never know.
Of course.
One person starts kicking you in the shins, before you know it, you're a statistic.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Nice to see they recycled those Howard Dean signs. Thank you, Lena. Appreciate that. Willie Bragg Show. Keaton, great job trolling Nimrata Rondawa, otherwise known as Nikki Haley. Russell, we still have reason to fear Ron the fascist. It's funny, that was the other thing. There was actually far more animosity to Trump among the Haley crowd than there was animosity towards DeSantis or even Nikki Haley at the Trump crowd. I mean, the drunk guy, he was hilarious. But beyond that, you didn't really see too many people going out of their way to trash her because they're winning. They have their mojo working. I mean, they're up. When you're winning, you don't have to do that. Yeah. Scott Johnson, here's 10 minutes of parking, Keaton. Thank you, Scott Johnson. Appreciate that. Carrie Scott, excited to hear you play Fall in Line by Steve Wick featuring Keaton and Extra Bulla. You can sample it, even play it on Jimmy if you want. Thank you, Carrie. Yeah, I do want to feature that, actually. Maybe we'll do that on one of our Q&A shows, or I could play it at the end of one of these shows. But good work. Thank you. I got a kick out of that. David Santucci, thanks for the $10. Great job on the video, Keaton. Thank you, David. John Freeze. Hi, guys. Do y'all have a preference for state communism, anarcho-communism, or something else? I'm trying to decide myself. I'd go with anarcho-communism.
I go with the Star Trek communism. Do they call it that?
Future communism.
They call it that? Yeah, I think Lenin called it that. That's where Roddenberry got it from, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Tusker, -100 for being lazy with the cowbell. That's right.
But I did give you the Christopher Walken drop, though.
That's true. Flaming Leg, thanks for the $20. Sorry you had to pay for parking. Other than that, great job. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yasim Miller, that was great, Keaton. Now I feel even better for being a Do Dissidence Patreon member. So proud of you. Thank you very much, Yasim.
Thank you, Yasim.
You're passionate about what you're doing. Russell, enjoy that great Jazz City, and Benet for me too. That's right, folks. You can sign up at Patreon if you want to help us. The more patrons we get, the more regularly we can do things like these without having to fundraise for them. So if you go to Patreon, that really helps us out a tremendous amount. But obviously, we still have our Special Projects Fund. And if you want to donate to our Special Projects Fund, you can go to givesendgo.com/do dissidence. And they're great. It's a free speech organization. It's a Christian organization, but they are free speech fundraisers. They advertise on Rumble. So if you're over on Rumble, they are an advertiser for Rumble. And they give 100% of proceeds right to us. And if you want, you can click a button and they will pray for you. That's nice. That's nice.
And if there's any audience on YouTube that needs some churching up, it's this one.
That's right. That's right. Brooke Lashley, thanks for the $9.99 for parking. Thank you very much.
That's basically where you go if you're a D.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. So that's the website, givesengo.com/do dissidence. To become a member, you can go to patreon.com/do dissidence, dodissidence.substack.com, or you can check out our locals. If you're over on Rumble, we had a great Rumble crowd this evening. We still have over 1,000 watching on Rumble. You can join our locals for just $5 a month and join to help support our projects. You get your name in the show credits, which I don't have Jake tonight, so we'll have to hit the show credits Tuesday, Thursday. It's kind of a bonus stream. We're doing 2 streams this week, plus a patron show. So our Patreon exclusive stream is going to be a morning matinee this Wednesday, the 24th at 10 a.m. Eastern. And then we're looking at our next one after that will be the Wednesday after to finish out the month. So we do have a couple of patron exclusive streams coming up, but you can go to locals, patreon.com/do dissidence or dodissidence.substack.com. Paid members get access to the same perks across the board. I'll put the Give, Send, Go link up here as we plug along. Daryl Deachman for Keaton trying to JOO his way into cheaper parking by invoking Maryann. Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was a good opportunity.
That was one of your best bets
for some comedy. Yeah,
that was like a Jackie Mason bet. I'm Jewish. I don't pay for parking. I don't like to pay for
yeah,
parking.
exactly. I didn't account for this.
JOO.
The MSM is now terrified. Trump will use the military and throw them into Gitmo. Oh snap! Isn't that the Q plan? They insist doesn't exist. Right. Exactly. Project 2025, right? We got to do a piece on that soon. Daryl Deachman. Here's a few more bucks for Keaton. Go buy some ball warmers, son. Hope I'm not too late. I actually had long johns, but I didn't wear them the first day because the first day I was just on the road all day. The second day I actually did. So I was actually pretty warm the second day. And it actually got really hot in that Maryann event because it was a tiny little restaurant and she had a pretty big crowd for what it was. And I was like sweating because I had a thermal shirt, like a light jacket, and then a winter jacket on top of it. You had to layer. I mean, it was seriously freezing. Charlie C, thanks for the $4.99.
Yeah, I know.
Chicory coffee. Yeah, that's right. Yes. From back in the day, ground chicory root is cheaper by weight than ground coffee, also currently popular in southern India. Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, like right after that, I was like, oh yeah. It's not hickory coffee.
Right. Chicory. And you take that stapler and you throw it at your stamp. Yeah.
I've had it. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not my preference. It seems like one of those things, if it's what you're used to, that's
right,
what you're going to like. But if you're used to not chicory coffee, you're not going to like it, probably.
There's a sense of muted desperation in Democratic ranks at the prospect of getting stuck and beaten once again with some tried and half-true hack like Biden or Phillips. Hunter S. Thompson. Thank you for that Rumble rant.
Nobody ever did it better than the doctor.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I like this. Option E, go see what Cenk is doing and bring Jimmy. Yeah, there were no Cenk Uygur events in New Hampshire. Why isn't he going to New Hampshire? Well, he just raised a bunch of money to run for president and just decided not to campaign at all? Nothing.
I would have to get Jimmy pretty drunk to do that.
It'd be tough. You're so funny, Keaton. Thank you so much for all you do. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you all very much for your support. All right, we got some more super chats. We will keep going here. How's our tally looking? How's our voting? Is our voting done or pretty much done? Looks like we haven't had many
check
votes
in with
cast.
our agent.
All right, got to check in with the vote counter, right? What's the saying? Doesn't matter who casts the votes, matters who counts them. You got Tusker in charge here. You got to trust her.
Good thing we don't have a Moscow option.
Yeah. What is your bet? Will Maryann achieve a higher percentage of the vote in New Hampshire or the daytime high for New Hampshire tomorrow? I think it's now getting a little warmer in New Hampshire, so I actually think that the daytime high will beat her vote total. But that is a good way to mark the over-under, though. Would have been a great metric for this weekend because it was in single digits, which is where she will finish. As always, I love you guys. Great work, Keaton. Thank you, Putz the Mouse. Appreciate that very much. And Thomas Michael says, hell yeah, I'm going to the DNC convention too. Beautiful, Thomas. Well, thank you. Russell, I think I'm going to make a certain announcement that you know and Tusker knows, but
snap.
But because it involves the convention, right? So
Yes.
like if we do, I probably should have said this before we put the poll in, but I don't think so because people love your coverage too. But if we do end up going to the convention, Russell will be going by himself because that convention is going to be in July. And in July, I can announce that our dissident family will be growing by one because my wife Amanda is pregnant again. And so we will be welcoming another dissident to the family in mid to late July is the due date. And that will overlap with the convention. So it'll be Russell on the streets of Chicago in the summertime.
This fucking guy's like a dandelion in the wind. He's just spreading that seed everywhere.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So let's all wish Keaton a good luck and congratulations and mazel tov.
Cheers.
L'chaim. Congratulations, partner.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So yeah, it's going to be, you know, when you sleep at your friend's house when you're younger and you're all homophobic, so you sleep like facing opposite direction. That's going to be me and Kit. It's going to be like Kit's feet in my face.
Dude, Dissidence is just crashing Kit Cabello's house. That actually, you guys would get some good content that you guys could cross post. You and Kit as like the odd couple for a week.
I mean, yes. I have New York press credentials now. So if I know we're doing that, I'm going to apply for convention credentials.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a good idea. I mean, you have New York press credentials. So, yeah, it might be easier than to get Chicago ones, right? Because these big, I mean, I guess if you're an employee for a network, they take care of that for you.
Sure, yeah.
But, you know, if you're just an independent journalist, you got to get them for each town and city. You start from scratch every time. That's a pain in the ass.
Oh, you know what? Let's reach out to some of our friends. Find out how they do. We'll talk to Aaron, talk to Max.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. See what we can do.
How do you guys handle this?
Yeah. How does this work?
If I give you some money, can you take care of this?
It seemed like I considered doing this. I considered just printing a lanyard and just seeing if that allowed me to like go into the press booth, because some of these events, it was very unofficial. Like at the Maryann event, there was no designated press event. It was just you can come in and set up. At the Haley events, there were, but it was very loose. Like, I don't think anybody would have cared.
So basically, you're saying if you just walked around with a New York press pass, they would probably say good enough.
They probably say good enough. You would need probably a camera. I mean, although some of the reporters had phones and audio recorders, Zoom recorders.
That's what cued me in that you could do that, because when I did the tour to Staten Island, yes, there is such a thing, folks. Right. The New York One reporter was there with an iPhone. They were just doing it with an iPhone.
Right. Indeed.
Good enough for New York One. It's good enough for the likes of us.
We had to shoot a video gig for my campground. My campground hired me and my friends to shoot a like an ad for their website for the tour. I was a tour guide for them, and I knew I did video work. And so, you know, they paid us a decent amount of money to go and do this. And we went to board the ferry to go to the statue, and the pricks wouldn't let us onto the boat with our cameras, because we had what are, you know, professional cameras, like they're real video cameras. They look like official cameras.
Right.
They don't shoot any better footage than a phone. You have a little better zooming capability.
Exactly.
You have a little better focus ability, but not much. Like it's pretty much the same thing. But they wouldn't let us on. They said, no, you need a permit to take the camera. I said, everybody has just as good a camera on them at all times. Now I need a permit. But no, they wouldn't let us on. So I'm like, oh, fuck, what are we going to do? So I said, I'm just going to shoot with my phone. And I did. The campground didn't know the difference. They were perfectly happy with it. It looked exactly the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, because there's such an arms race going on between Samsung and iPhone to try to beat out each other, and Google, like they're trying to beat out each other's camera technology. Unless you're going to spend a few $1,000s, you're not getting a better camera. You're not getting a camera with better quality than a high-end phone has at this point.
No, and the audio, the audio is very good.
The audio was really good.
It was really good.
I was watching for that.
You don't get the level of control that you would get with a microphone, but with control comes problems, comes difficulty. Like like if you have an external mic, it's easier to fuck that up. This was, it was fine. It worked great. And the phones are a lot easier when you're doing those guerrilla interventions because they'll break. You have a camera on you and you get roughed up. A lens could crack or something like this. These are much more, foolproof in that way. But the reason why we did this all at once, everybody, as opposed to like, dropping, video every night, we were going to drop video every night, but the temperatures were so extreme that I really felt nervous about bringing the laptop and the hard drive and all the editing stuff. And I ran into a photographer at the Maryann rally who said, he was out shooting footage at the Trump rally, and he said his camera stopped working. He had to stop. He had to go home, and he had to literally thaw his camera out for about an hour before it would function again. No, it's serious.
Jesus.
Like that, this equipment can handle cold, but there's cold and then there's that cold for sustained periods of time.
Right, sure.
Yeah, and so,
how do they cover the news in Alaska?
Yeah, no, it's insane.
No, really? Do they have special
They
camera
must have
warmers?
special equipment where they put it inside something or something like that. Yeah, they must. Tusker, holy shit, gonna need a replay of the live chat. Yeah, I took some screenshots of the Rumble thing, so I'll tally that up on my end.
All right, so
Tusker, and then I'll give you those numbers. But yeah, there will be a live chat replay, so you'll be able to get that.
All right. So we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Thank you, Keaton. Great question for Maryann Williamson. Chat with other voters. Thank you. Appreciate that. This wasn't what I signed up for. Russell says Tusker. Yeah, that was a big one. That was a big turnout. Big turnout. We had bigger turnout than Maryann is going to have. Back from the road, mystery van money. Oh, look at that. Also, Tusker is right about anarchists. Let's give a cowbell. Beautiful. Thank you, back from the road. Appreciate that very much. And sorry, I'm just cleaning some of these out. The Maryann tour continues. Deeply unserious. Yeah, going back and watching that whole answer, that's why I highlighted some of those chats. Like, yes, she was making my point for me. She was describing why it's a waste of time to run as a Democrat.
Yeah.
And then she says, you want me to give up? No, that's the whole point, is that we're not asking you to give up. We're just asking you to give up on Democratic primary politics.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, Baby Ethernet, make the options a poll, please, for voting. Well, we did the closest we could. We could do it on Twitter, but we feel like that's not really fair to the audience because the audience is here on YouTube.
Because you're
and Rumble.
here.
Right. You guys are here on YouTube and Rumble.
No. We'll go back through the chat and we'll tally it up.
Yeah, but between YouTube and Rumble, we've got 40,000 followers on our video channel. We only have like 10,000 on Twitter.
From what I could see, it looks like an A and D situation. It looks like Assange was the most popular thing to definitely do, but a lot of people just want us to do all of it.
Right.
At which point, we'll book the Assange trip and fundraise for the rest.
Exactly. That's what we'll have to do. Pardon me. Blarg is a member. Thank you, Blarg. Appreciate that. Long story short, thanks for the $5. Great job. Playing a little coy will get you better results. When Aaron Mate had that senator on the train, he should have said he was a Zionist. Well, that's the old Michael Moore tactic, is just be very sly, like agree with them. Like the guy who went from one thing to another. Iraq, we were protecting democracy. Right. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Then that one lady, I don't judge people for what they did in the past, only for what they're going to do in the future. Right. No, it makes sense. What?
Right.
I should have said, I beat a couple of speeding tickets like that. I told the judge, I said, what you're judging me for what I did in the past. Why don't you judge me based on what I'm going to do
Why
in
don't
the
you
future?
think about where I'm going?
Why don't you think about how slow I'm going to drive in the future? Why are you obsessing with how fast I drove this one day?
Why don't you think about all the people I'm not going to murder?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Sparky, thanks for the $5. Keaton, many thanks for braving the cold on our behalf. Well, thank you guys for
Thank you, Sparky.
giving us the resources to do it. I'm not going to repeat what he said, but he called her an effing whore. Fucking hilarious. Love you guys. Yeah, I wanted to get that in. I wanted to tell this. I wanted to have a "don't kill the messenger" moment with the squares, and it would have been nicer to say that to someone who really loved her, like to that guy. Like that would have been ideal, to find a real fan and like someone who really was devoted to her. Be like, hey, so I didn't say this, but last night at the Trump rally, some guy called her an effing whore. But there weren't many big fans of hers at that second event. Like the diehards were at the first event, but not this second one. The second one, they're all undecided. They're Democrats.
I'm not going to have a double standard personally. I could give you dozens of reasons why Nikki Haley is a monstrous idea and why establishment support for her reveals why Donald Trump is doing as well as he is and how she's really not. Their idea of a lesser evil is actually a greater one. But I've never cared about this when it comes out with a male politician, unless there's some kind of abuse or assault, as with Bill Clinton. If you're talking about consensual sex with him.
Yeah, who the hell cares? Well, that's the thing. Man. The one guy, like the drunk guy, got very triggered when I said, well, hey, maybe Trump has syphilis. Like, he really was. Kit was saying this guy's like a conservative SJW. And he really was. Like, he really got upset about that. He was really offended by that. What do you mean Trump has syphilis? I said, why do you care? Even if he does, like, why would you care?
Right.
That's not something I would think the MAGA people would really care about.
Well, let's call it what it is, man. I mean, you look at the way this is being addressed by conservatives, it's misogyny.
Right.
They all know damn well Donald Trump was never faithful a day in his life to anyone he was fucking married to. They know that.
Right. Exactly.
So what is this about? Come on.
Yeah, no, of course. Oh, Tusker, congratulations, comrade. Why don't we give Tusker a singing bowl? Why don't we try that?
Okay.
All right. On 1, 2, 3, hit it.
Still like a kung fu movie.
Yeah. There we go.
My monkey style will beat your dragon style anytime.
Thank you, Tusker, very much. Putin Modi 24 says, Sparky, John Freese, isn't mass mutual aid a form of communism? I wonder why we all just say, fuck it, I'm communist, and then some go anarcho and some go state.
We can't have communism without warp drive.
Exactly. No, I mean, I wanted to just put that as, I wanted to make that point as sort of digestible as I could put it, because she had a mutual aid person there, and so that was the point of bringing that up, and I thought it was a nice way to bookend our coverage because it was really like a part 2 of what Nick said. Giving you guys a break from politics. Name your favorite 80s flick. We've gotten this question before. My favorite 80s flick.
That? 80s?
Well, yeah, I remember because my favorite 80s flick. The Shining is not an 80s flick. It happened to come out in the 80s, but it's not quintessentially 80s. But my favorite
came
80s
out
flick,
like right on that 1980, right?
I think it was 80 or 81. Yeah. My favorite 80s flick is one of my favorite movies ever, and that is Back to the Future. I love that movie. I think that's a classic. That's absolutely perfect for what it is, and that's probably my favorite 80s movie.
All right. That would be a very hard question for me to answer, so to make this a nutritious answer, I'm going to lay 2 cult movies on you to go check out. Liquid Sky, which is eerily prophetic because that movie was basically about bohemian freaks in Lower Manhattan right before AIDS hit, and it's about a woman who everyone she has sex with dies because aliens are extracting chemicals from their brains when she fucks them. And Repo Man, which more of you are probably familiar with that. Look, I see somebody in the chat. Yeah,
Yep.
Repo Man. So
Yep.
I'll say those. I can't. They're definitely among my most beloved movies from the 80s.
Nice. Option E, return to Uber full time. Ha ha. Thank you. Very funny. Rose Blossom, thanks for the $1.99. I seriously love Russ's background rustic elegance. Yeah, it is nice. It's very nice.
Yeah, it's like this little mini house I'm in this Airbnb. It was very, very cheap. Especially for the neighborhood it's in. This basically, I didn't even quite realize. I'm pretty much in like the Garden District / Irish Channel, which is a very nice area.
Awesome. Tusker B+. What is that in reference to? Is that to Russell? What does B+ mean? Oh, B+ on the Singing Bowl. Was that our grade for the Singing Bowl performance? Maybe that's what that was. All right, we'll take it. That's not bad. That's a good score. Alrighty, folks. So ends our evening. We got a show tomorrow, 9 p.m. right here on this channel, both YouTube and Rumble. Really fantastic to have such a great crowd for this project. We thank you all once again, all who donated and made this possible. You guys are amazing. You guys are awesome. Thank you all for showing up in such large numbers to watch our stuff tonight. And we thank you once again for being here. We will see you all tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, with our regularly scheduled segments as well as live results from these New Hampshire primaries. Russell, that's all we got for tonight, is it not?
That is it for tonight. Don't forget, February 3rd on Jimmy Dore Show, big announcement from our friend Jose Vega. February 1st on the Jimmy Dore Show, we will have Norman Finkelstein. We're going to get his views on the Warriors, which he's promised to watch before the episode.
Exactly.
Kidding, he hasn't promised to do that.
Yeah, that'll be great. So big week coming up on the Jimmy Dore Show next week, and a big week this week. Show tomorrow, 9 o'clock here, and then a Wednesday morning patron exclusive show. So sign up, patreon.com/DoDissidence, DoDissidence.substack.com, or you can join our locals. That's DoDissidence.locals.com. If you're watching on Rumble right now, you can hit that join button right underneath the screen to join our locals. Otherwise, you can go to Substack, DoDissidence.substack.com, or patreon.com/DoDissidence to support our program. Thank you guys very, very much for being here tonight. Appreciate you all tremendously. We will see you tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube and Rumble. Until then, be safe and be well.
Courage.
Please clap.